Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching first part of What If Naruto Had a Leveling AI. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no time, let's start the story.
A little boy was pacing the streets. You might wonder, why is he running? The answer is very straightforward. He was targeted for murder by a group of inebriated idiots. The boy had bright blue on his shoulders and was dressed in a bright orange jumpsuit. An orange sweatband held the goggles on his head, keeping them from covering his eyes. He was only 6 years old and went by Naruto Uzumaki. Why do they follow me around all the time? They claim that I murdered their relatives, but that is not what I have done. Why? He hid behind a trash can and leapt into a nearby alley. The voice was strong but calming. The voice he had begun to refer to as his guardian angel was never revealed to him. They do not see what I see, young Naruto. You only need to find a friend. One who will stay by your side, no matter what. Knowing that if he responded to the voice now, his pursuers would discover him even more quickly, Naruto chose not to respond. In order to remain hidden, he made an effort to remain composed. Unfortunately, before he could flee again, one of the inebriated people kicked his hiding place, causing him to jump. Head to the forests, young one. Remember what I told you. Don't think. Feel. It will help. Trust me. With that, Naruto nodded and hurried into the woods. For some reason, he always hid better in the forests than anywhere else. Furthermore, he was aware that his guardian angel was unrelated to it. He quickly lost the villagers, who had given up trying to find him. He left his hiding place, which was ironically the base of a tree, as soon as he realized they were gone. The voice cautioned, "Young one, we are not alone." Naruto's eyes were searching wildly. In the hopes that they wouldn't see him emerge, he asked, "Who's out there?" Naruto turned and said, "Behind you," but it was too late. Before it struck his chest and he blacked out, all he saw was a red blob. An Anbu didn't arrive and take him to a hospital until half an hour later. The Anbu had silver hair that appeared to defy gravity and a dog mask. He thought of only one thing. "I'm hoping I didn't arrive too late. I can't let Sensei down. Not right now. Never." 6 years later. Though not significantly, Naruto Uzumaki had grown a few inches. At the moment, he was seated close to a wooden shed, a big scroll close by. He had already started reading it. He read it and said, "Shadow Clone Jutsu? Aw great. My worst technique. Just in case. Hold on a minute. Need for extreme reserves? Not much, if any. Control is required." He smiled a little. "Now that, I can do." He had played the idiot in front of everyone for 5 years in the academy. He was learning things he shouldn't even be aware of, and nobody else, not even the village chief, knew about it. He is also unsure of how he came to know about the majority of them. A lot of people thought he was a prankster, but in his opinion, it was the best way for him to train covertly. After each one, he would essentially play keep away from his pursuers, making them work for it. He was essentially training the so-called elite while also building up his endurance. In any case, he was given a make-up exam because he had already failed the graduation exam 3 times. Though he suspected it was a farce, he reasoned that he might benefit from it if it wasn't. 4 hours later, Naruto was able to create a single shadow clone. The high point 5 he gave it was proof that it was effective. But it dispelled rapidly. He sighed and said, "I did it." Over the years, he had developed a keen sense of observation, which he knew would be useful to him in the long run. Shortly thereafter, a dark-skinned man with a scar across his nose landed close by. "Naruto, do you realize how much trouble you're in?" "Oh, that's wonderful. I was discovered first by Iruka Sensei. In order to understand why Mizuki Sensei gave me this test, I was hoping he would appear first." "Oh well." Naruto concluded the thought and then smiled slightly. "Iruka Sensei, I managed to learn the jutsu. Now, all I have to do is show you, and I pass, right?" Iruka studied the boy's appearance, a little taken aback. "Naruto, what are you talking about?" he asked, recognizing the words Naruto had used. "He does look like he's been working hard." "The make-up exam. Mizuki Sensei told me about it, and this place. He said if I could learn one jutsu from this scroll, then I would pass and become a genin. That's how it works, right?" Naruto responded with some enthusiasm. Iruka would have responded, but he felt an attack coming and shoved Naruto aside before stealing some kunai, which made him scoot back toward the hut. The man, who was dressed similarly to Iruka but had silver gray hair and 2 Fuma shuriken on his back, asked, "So, you found out about our little hiding spot? Naruto, good job. Now give me the scroll, and you pass." "No, Naruto, don't give him the scroll, he only wants to use you. Give me the scroll, Naruto. I can show you what it means, Mizuki said. His eyes were flitting about Naruto. When Naruto heard the voice, he gave a small nod. Mizuki, he's the traitor here. Naruto, please leave and get assistance, yelled Iruka. Mizuki asked, don't you want to know why everyone hates you? Which caused Naruto to freeze. Mizuki. That information is forbidden. Iruka was simply ignored by Mizuki. You're that baby. You are the Kyuubi no Yoko, he said, removing a Fuma shuriken from his back and throwing it. 12 years ago, the demon fox, Kyuubi no Yoko, attacked our village. The Yondaime didn't kill it. He sealed it into a newborn. In his shock, Naruto felt himself pushed back a little and discovered Iruka on top of him, with the shuriken behind him. Sensei. Why? Because. You're like me. We are so much alike, you and I a couple of kids, looking for recognition. I know you realize it. I know you're in pain. You never show it, but I know. Naruto was unsure of how to respond to that. He started to feel something at this point. Something within himself. It was growing in number. What's happening? Naruto's eyes grew wide as he exclaimed, Kit, don't lose yourself. You are not the Kyuubi, you are not me. Yes, I am the Kyuubi. Yes, I taught you things. No, I wasn't kidding when I said that they don't see you. All they see is me. That is why you wanted recognition. To show that you are you, and I am me. The sensation grew even more intense for Naruto. The feeling was welcoming, but it was also something he didn't like. As though he feels better the more it multiplies. Naruto had another feeling. It was anger. The feeling calmed him, and the anger made it grow stronger. Before long, a dazzling light was enveloping him. Naruto didn't appear to be there when the light went out. Both Iruka and Mizuki were perplexed. Mizuki was frantically searching the area, asking, where did that demon go? They were unaware that a tiny orange ball was close by and that it could hear everything. It's time to learn the truth. Iruka, why would you bother to protect that demon? It killed your parents. The demon killed my parents, yes. This was heard by Naruto. Thus, it is accurate. Iruka despises me as well. But Naruto isn't the demon. If he could have, Naruto would have widened his eyes. If he were, the village wouldn't be standing right now. He would have destroyed us all with single breath for our treatment of him. At least I took the time look. No one else seems to have done that. Sure, he may be a prankster, and he doesn't always have the best grades. However, he is not the demon you hate so much. This village doesn't even deserve Naruto's presence. He's too good for all of us. Mizuki said, removing the other shuriken from his back. Iruka. I was going to save you for later, but I'll just have to kill you now. After Iruka revealed the unvarnished truth, Naruto felt compelled to step in. However, he was unsure of how. After all, he was balled up. Then it dawned on him. The shuriken was thrown off course and through several more trees as he rolled forward and leapt to hit Mizuki as a ball. Ow! The ball then slightly separated, exposing a much larger orange body that was nearly 5 feet 9 inches tall. A yellow, visored helmet was present. What appeared to be a long tube from the elbow down was used in place of the left arm. The message was clear even though his voice was masked. Iruka and Mizuki gazed at the newcomer and said, if you ever lay a hand on an innocent, I'll kill you. Iruka had a thought, but he was unable to explain it. Pointing the tube at Mizuki, he lifted his left arm. Mizuki yelled, who the hell are you? Another demon lover? A tiny yellow beam left the arm and struck Mizuki in the chest, sending him flying. If that's what you want to call me for saving your sorry asses and taking all the shit you threw at a child, then sure. Why the fuck not? Dear. Long. Range cannon. See what else it can accomplish. He directed chakra towards it, and as a glow emerged close to the tube's end, he heard a faint whirring sound. Repeat after me, said a fresh voice. Charge shot. Fire. Mizuki's arm was blasted off by a bigger yellow blast, causing blood to splash everywhere. Any last words, traitor? Go to hell. Naruto had charged once more and hit Mizuki in the chest with a direct shot. When Iruka saw this, she was filled with ideas. Why would Naruto act in that manner? And why doesn't it affect him? Then Iruka came to a realization. Naruto turned to face Iruka and said, unless it isn't Naruto, who are you? I am the soul of this suit. The young one does not know of me. You need not fear me, but I had to take his place and make the shot. He himself would not have. Who are you? Asked Iruka. The man in the suit then approached the scroll, picked it up, and threw it in Iruka's direction, saying, I have no name. I have no title. I am merely a suit that the young one can access. I can also access the young one's memories. Take that to the Hokage, and get yourself checked out at the hospital. He would not like it if you remain harmed. He is grateful, but it was not him that did that, it was all me. This young one. Is it Naruto? That is his name, yes. Iruka let out a sigh of relief. And you are not Kyuubi? Do you mean that fox that is in his mind, unable to do a thing but play board games with me for the past few years? Iruka's expression changed to one of shock. Board games? Yes. She is quite the natural. If you have something to say, I would suggest you say it now. The young one is unconscious, allowing me to use the suit. When he is in a safe spot, I will let him know what has happened, and train him to use it. You need not fear me, Iruka. Then Iruka removed his headband. Give this to him, he's a graduate now. The suit began to leave after saying, I'll make sure he knows. Remember to get yourself checked out. The suit then rolled off in a ball and said, he will look for you when we are done. And do not let anyone know what has happened here, Iruka, Sandame. Sandame? Hokage. Sama, however, isn't even present. Iruka was attempting to stand up a few minutes later when an Anbu showed up. Iruka.san. It was a bear. Masked Anbu. Kuma.san. Can you get the scroll to Hokage? Sama? And hopefully get me to the hospital to get checked out? The Anbu gave a nod. We are old teammates after all, it's the least I can do. Thanks. Iruka mentioned. What of Uzumaki? I don't know. He went off, trying to absorb what happened, probably. Mizuki was a traitor. Iruka responded. The Anbu walked him back to the village while holding Iruka over his other arm and hanging the scroll around his arm. Returning to the village, the Hokage had entered a hospital room where Iruka was sitting. Iruka. Hokage. Sama. I believe you know why I'm here, Iruka, so I'll cut to the chase. Do you know where Naruto is? Not exactly. But, I know he's safe. He isn't being influenced by the Kyuubi. I think we should postpone the team assignments for 2 weeks later than usual, Iruka replied. Why that long out? I think Naruto may have a bloodline. Something that doesn't involve the fox. Iruka said. I don't know why I think this, but I do. If it were a bloodline, then he'd have to get it registered as such. I don't think he'll want it as a village bloodline, if it is new. I don't think he will either. Still, this is only speculation, sir. With a slight smirk, Sandame said, I know, but be careful. If he does, then I will see to it that no one finds out. Not even the council. Naruto may cause a lot of trouble. Iruka went on, but the ones that get the worst of it piss him, said Sandame. Off. The Hokage stood up. Iruka. Thank you for giving him the chance he deserved. I still don't think this village deserves him, though. I wasn't kidding when I said that. The Sandame said, so do I, Iruka. So do I, and left the room. Naruto. Before going to sleep, Iruka thought, I hope you're okay. Unexpected cave outside Konohagakure wearing his jumpsuit, we discover Naruto dozing off on a rock. The Mindscape it appeared that Naruto had woken up in a sewer. His eyes grew wide as he asked, where am I? The last thing I remember. Iruka. Sensei. Calm down, young one. Iruka is safe, for the time being. The voice caused Naruto to visibly relax, but he then had a question. Naruto then followed the pipes that gave off the same vibe, until he came to a gate with a piece of paper bearing seal written on it. Follow the feeling of my power, and you will find the truth. You have finally come, young one. Why? In the shadow outside the gate, a huge fox emerged. Why what? Why did you let me think you were a guardian angel? The fox said, in a low but safe voice, would you have let me help if I corrected you, saying I was a demon that your own mother wanted to watch over you? If I did that, you'd never let me help. You'd ignore me. And you'd probably be dead 7 times over by now. Before he realized something, Naruto had to concede that point. You knew my mother? Of course. I was sealed in her before you, after all. Did she? Did she love me? I can only say yes. Both she and your father loved you. They sacrificed their lives to make sure you lived, the day you were born. They gave you me, so I can help you. The attack. It wasn't exactly my fault, so you know. Then whose fault was it? I am partially at fault for letting that man control me, again. But he's also the one that ripped me out of your mother. He wants to see Konohagakure burn to the ground. Still, I fear he has more in store for the world. The man approached them, and Naruto and Kyuubi turned to face him. I do not know what is going on with you two, but I think we should get to business. It was just an ordinary scientist. Black pants, a lab coat, a black shirt, and covering glasses. Young one. Kira. Ah. And the body is in a safe spot. The scientist asked, "You think I'd come back in here if it weren't? I didn't find my way in here all those years ago just to let someone that gained a natural immunity to my usually harmful genetics die. Sorry, but that's not going to happen." Point. So, Iruka sends his regards to Naruto. Believe it or not, when I landed here, I was the last of my kind. My race truly had no name, mainly because we couldn't even speak human languages. We were a primal race, one that couldn't even think. It was only after a being known only as Samus Aran came to us, and we went into her. I was a part of that initial absorption. Unlike the others, I had gotten into her memory banks, and found what it means to be a human. While the others attacked her as a threat, I didn't. I completely steered clear of her. What's more is, as she was about to blow up the station, I used one of the only escape pods there. She had blown the rest of my species up, to protect the galaxy. Over time, the rest of my species had transferred what they had learned to me. I am the last of my kind. Kira, the fox, asked, "Why didn't you say any of this before?" Because I didn't want to repeat myself, and the young one had to know of this as well. Besides, I actually thank Samus for doing that. We were a disgrace, compared to some of the things she fought. Naruto observed the two and listened carefully to what they had to say. "How did you get in here, then?" Kira and the scientist both glanced at Naruto. Naruto glanced at Kira and nodded, asking, "Naruto, you remember that red blob of goo that hit you years ago?" He never said it, but I think that was him. "You're kidding me." "No, he is not. In fact, that actually was me. I found that your body can adapt to something much quicker than normal humans. It didn't take long for your body to gain an immunity to my usual viral genetics." "Speak English, please." "In other words, your body can take something harmful, and make the harmful portions useless. You aren't affected by the harmful effects of his race. Another way to look at it is poisons. Some can kill you. You will not die from it, if you can gain an immunity to it before it does." After giving it some thought, Naruto nodded. "That makes more sense. Now, on to the reason I'm here now. Apparently, you have a suit. From Samus's memories, it is called the Power Suit." "Power Suit?" "Yes. It is a battle suit, but it is nowhere near the level Samus is. You only have a small portion of what she did." Naruto questioned, "What do you mean?" "Her power suit had a multitude of abilities and attachments. The majority of which you don't have." Kira explained, "Too many abilities, you have only a select few." Naruto nodded in agreement. "What do I have?" "To start, you have the abilities of the Gravity Suit and Varia Suit. Gravity Suit allows for natural movements underwater and in lava. The Varia Suit can handle extreme temperatures, allowing you to actually get to the lava and still be unaffected. With a Varia Suit, but no Gravity Suit, lava can still harm you, but since you have both right now, that is not really that bad." Naruto nodded his head in agreement. "Okay. The next ability you have is the Charge Beam. Basically, you take the arm cannon and charge it up. I found that you have an inner energy, and it can be used to charge the beam, making it a charge beam. I told you about chakra, and you learned how to access it in the academy. Chakra is what he's talking about. Channel your chakra to the arm cannon, which was on your left arm, and you will fire a charged shot. You will not be affected by my kind, since you have already adapted to my presence. That is an ability you have, with or without the suit. We can heal you by absorbing ourselves within you. You can also make more of us to control others, find out what they know, take their consciousness, genetic traits, or simply kill them. If someone you care for is dying, you can make one of us and have us take their consciousness, memories, and genetic traits, so we can go into a dead body, and revive them later. We cannot take the memories of a dead body, however." "Wait. Back up. Are you saying you can prevent death?" "Not a physical death, not. But we can keep them from dying, and make a new body for them, with all the abilities of the original. It is like reincarnation, in a sense. The genetic code will be the same, their memories, personality, it will be like they never died. Though this has never truly been tested, I think it could very well work. But I would not suggest doing so unless there is a good reason for it." Naruto was amazed by the skill. "I can stop someone from dying completely, just by using this ability?" "In a sense, yes. Their body will die, unless you could put it in a cryogenic state, which, from what I've seen of this world, is impossible with the current technology." "Cry. What?" asked Naruto. Still bewildered, Naruto tilted his head and said, "Cryogenic state. Basically, it preserves the physical body, allowing it to heal. Then Kira got it. This may be easier for you to understand. The body is frozen, keeping it from aging, but still allowing it to heal from whatever would have usually killed the person. Oh, I get it. So, it stops them from aging, dying, and can be used to heal? In a nutshell, yes, but as I said, it is impossible with this planet's technology. You underestimate us. Believe it or not, there is another way to do so with what we do have here. Kira said, and it just so happens, I know exactly how to do it. After all, his mother did so a few times. It was only really used to keep her targets from dying, when they were needed alive, though. They were mangled, but not dead. They came out in a slightly better state than they were in, due to a slow healing factor. Top physical condition, but still unconscious. The researcher arched an eyebrow. How did she do this? Kira gave Naruto a look. I'll be teaching you your mother's Fuinjutsu skills. I know them inside and out, after all. I can't do much for your father, and yes I know of him, but I can't teach you his only 2 original techniques. You'd have to learn them from elsewhere. Through Fuinjutsu, the only limit is the user's imagination. Thankfully, your mother already had the cryogenic one made a few times. But that will have to wait for a while. Still, the shadow clone jutsu will come in handy here. Naruto's eyebrow went up. How so? Because of the special ability of them. I will let you know, in case you didn't read that part. When they dispel, they will transfer all memories to the original. Your mother abused this for training chakra control, elemental manipulation, and Fuinjutsu. Trust me. They're more than worth it, and by learning Fuinjutsu, you'll save a lot of money on sealing scrolls, exploding tags, and the like. You'll be able to make your own, after all. Kira clarified. Naruto's gaze brightened. Sweet. For now, though, you'll have to work with this guy here on working with the suit. Before you start, make a lot of shadow clones, and then work with him on getting out and using the suit. The clones will work on Fuinjutsu. I'll put all the lower end seals in your mind for you to work on. Once you master those, to my standards, you'll go up a level. I'll let you know when you go up a level. Where is the seal that I need? It will be on level 3. It is more complicated, and the slightest mistake will mean a massive explosion. Your mother tried it before the first 2 levels. Needless to say it blew up in her face. Kushina would kill me if I let that happen to you. Take your time, and work your way up. Naruto nodded despite having a sad expression. Alright, it's for my mother. I'll make her proud. Remember, this is so you can learn how to use the power suit as well. I bought you at least an extra week. We'll work on what is needed, and your Fuinjutsu for now. Naruto gave a nod. So, how do I get out of here? Your body is exhausted. That much I know. For now, come. Sleep in my fur. Your mother did it from time to time, mainly when her body was exhausted. I kind of missed that feeling. Acknowledged Kira. Despite his slight hesitancy, Naruto did just that. Naruto exclaimed, so soft. Before collapsing in the fur. Kira laughed lightly. His mother said the same thing the first she did this. The researcher arched an eyebrow. Do you think it is possible for me to implant my own knowledge that I gained into him? Given the abilities your race has. I would say it is possible, but do not overload his mind. In fact, wait for a while, or do so gradually. It would make less strain on his mind, and the shadow clone training will put enough on it as it is. We don't need more than is necessary. Kira nodded, placed a tail on Naruto's forehead, and transmitted the first level seal memories. 2 weeks later, the office of Hokage. The Hokage was concerned because team placements were just 2 days away. Nobody had seen Naruto's hide or tail. Naruto, where are you? I'm concerned. Then a bear. Masked Anbu came into the room. Hokage, Sama. The elderly man raised his head. Report. Naruto Uzumaki has been found, and is currently inside of his apartment. And the Kyuubi? Not in control. He does not seem to be affected by his kill, however. The Anbu responded. Kuma, there is probably more to it than that. He has been gone for 2 weeks. I should probably go and see him. The Anbu gave a nod. Shall I get him for you? The Hokage gave a nod. The Anbu vanished. Naruto, I hope your mental health is good. Naruto was there when the Anbu returned in a matter of minutes. You wanted to see me, Gigi? Naruto. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but... Naruto interrupted him, saying, it's okay. I'm over it. All of it. I can understand why you didn't tell me. You owe me a lot of ramen for it, though. You are sure? Give me back as much ramen as you can, and I'll forgive you forever. Naruto grinned slightly. Yes. But that's Naruto, Sarutobi. I see, and if I don't? I'll leave that to the imagination. Naruto's expression changed to one of extreme sadism. Reminiscent of one particular interrogator, Sarutobi almost fainted at the sight. If Anko has located him and assisted him. We'll do so later, but I must ask, how are you feeling about your first? Naruto recognized Mizuki. Naruto raised an eyebrow and got a nod when he said, the silver-haired Teme. Well, he was a bastard, and he tried to kill Iruka, sensei. I don't like the fact I had to, but I know that if I didn't, Iruka, sensei would be dead right now. That's what I've been telling myself. If I didn't do it, Iruka would be dead. If I did, Iruka would live. While I was out I heard a saying. It was a code for some old assassination group. Kill one, and maybe, save 1,000. That saying got me over what I did, knowing that I could have saved a lot of lives down the road. Despite his slight surprise, the elderly man nodded. I see, and you were right. Mizuki has had his body burned. Now, on to another matter, your graduation. Look, I know I didn't graduate, but, Sarutobi surprised Naruto and the current Anbu by saying, actually, you did graduate. You already have a B-rank mission under your belt as well. You flushed out a traitor, and took him down. You lack experience, yes. However, I do see what others don't. What happened that night will be strictly classified to you, Iruka, me, and the Anbu present. It will go on your record as a B rank. He also pulled out a bag. Naruto examined it, pulled out a scroll, and sealed the bag inside, saying, and here is your pay for the mission. Don't spend it all in one place. Sarutobi and the Anbu were taken aback. How did you? You didn't think I wouldn't learn anything while I was out, did you? The Kyuubi may not be any harm right now, but that doesn't mean she doesn't know anything about the only way she was defeated. I've only learned Fuinjutsu from her, but it helps out a lot. Sarutobi was startled and a little afraid. What are you? She won't take over my mind. We've come to an agreement, one of mutual benefit. She helps me. I take out the one person she wants dead. She only says that this person also killed my parents the day I was born, but won't say my father's name. I do know my mother's name, though. Acknowledged Naruto. Sarutobi let out a sigh. I see. And you are sure that the Kyuubi will honor the deal? It's a demonic code of honor. If a demon gives their word, they will keep it. She gave her word she will not take over my mind, and will not ask to be let out. I'll admit I was wary at first, but she hasn't even tried to. Unless I allow her to take control, she won't. She is only teaching me in Fuinjutsu for the time being. After all, it was one of my mother's best skills. Though a little taken aback, Sarutobi saw no reason to discount it. He gave a nod, with his signature foxy grin. Naruto nodded and said, okay. You still need to get a picture taken for your ninja ID. And no pranks for it. After that is done, I'll take you to Ichiraku's. So, when do teams get put together? 2 days from now. After today, I would think you may need some rest. You don't want to burn out your mind, right? Naruto said, nope. Although he was still a little concerned, Sarutobi let him go. The Kyuubi doesn't, either, that's for sure. Subsequently, Naruto leapt out the window and proceeded to the designated location for the photo. Then Sarutobi looked at the Anbu. Follow him. Make sure he is himself. Even with his explanation, I am not sure whether or not it is the truth. Make sure he does not know. This is to last until team placements. Sir. The Anbu walked away. Naruto. Even though I would like to believe what you said, I need to make sure that you are not already under control. 2 days later. Naruto was seated in class at 8 in the morning. Another person approached him. He knew that it was Shikamaru. Naruto, what are you doing here? Class today is only for those that didn't fail. Naruto's head turned a little. Shikamaru glanced and realized he was correct. I know you're lazy, Shika, but I can't believe you didn't notice the headband. I did graduated, if you can't tell. It's an alternate way of graduation, only for someone like me. A dead last. Naruto hissed at the person across from him, saying, no, Teme. I have a reason for passing. You just don't need to know. Shikamaru, however, observed the animosity in Naruto's tone. What transpired at the Uchiha that made him so angry? Naruto heard the words, kid, calm down. There is no reason to get pissed at him for his ancestor. I'm not angry with him for Madara's actions. Naruto shot back, I'm mad at him because he believes he's so strong because of his dead clan. Hi, X. Do you believe that it is possible to prevent him from obtaining his Sharingan? They didn't know what else to call him, so the scientist in his mind was given the name X. For whatever reason, he liked the name. Well, it should be possible. However, I do not see how to do so without him noticing. It is in his genetics, after all. X's presence had given Naruto and X access to a special lesson on Kekkei Genkei, or bloodlines. Naruto would need to be aware of each one's abilities in case he wanted to take it for himself, since he could replicate a genetic code simply by absorbing it into an X body. Theoretically, he could also get rid of one. Damn. Oh well. Check it out later. Naruto inquired, receiving 2 nods in his mind. Naruto had heard what sounded like a stampede at this point. Oh no, the crew of Banshee. It is a good thing you know the silencing seal, and already placed on your body. Activate it. You don't have to repeat it to me. Naruto almost yelled in his head before performing a half-dot ram seal that slightly deformed his head. The door was slammed open at that moment. I win! Exclaimed 2 girls. One wore a red dress with a white circle on the back, had pink hair, and emerald green eyes. Sakura Haruno was her name. The other had on a purple dress with a headband over it and white tape around the waist. She had a little bang over the right side of her face, but it did not cover her eyes, and her bleach blonde hair was pulled back in a ponytail. Ino Yamanaka was her name. Naruto was standing next to Sasuke when they both noticed him. They hurried up there. Sakura yelled, "Naruto! Move it," but Naruto ignored her. Naruto interrupted her as he looked at her, saying, "Naruto, move it or all." He said, "I'm sorry, did you say something?" Which made her and Ino take responsibility. Everyone in the classroom laughed except for a few who arched an eyebrow. Naruto. She shifted to strike him, and he switched with Sasuke using a sealless Kawarimi, body swap, substitution, which prompted her to strike him. I wasn't kidding with what I said. I can't hear anything. You probably made me go deaf from years of yelling, said Naruto. Just one student in the class understood what he was actually doing. She saw the chakra barrier surrounding his head, which is why. And this individual, who is female, gave a little giggle. Oh, Naruto-kun. Isn't that a sound barrier? I was aware that you were superior to everyone else present. In the corner of Naruto's eye, he noticed a girl. He discovered that she was laughing at something. Kira, X, do you know why that occurred? When she realized he was staring at her, she blushed and turned her head away. Never mind. She seems to be crushing on me. Kira said, let it be known that you are not dense. Naruto gave a mental nod. Naruto. Yelled a group of girls. Naruto noticed their rage in their eyes. Kid, don't worry. For me, this is just additional training. All I have to do is dodge and evade. Naruto answered, I'll save that for when I can't dodge, or use Kawarimi with Sasuke. Good luck. Said X. Kira went on to say, I second that. Thank you. He was charged by the girls, but he was able to avoid all of their blows. This continued until Iruka came into the classroom and discovered what was going on. His head expanded to 10 times its normal size after his eye twitched. Sit down and shut up. After glancing at Iruka, the girls noticed Naruto standing next to him. Oh come on, Iruka. Sensei. I was getting in some practice. Naruto replied. Naruto. Hang on. A shimmer reappeared as Naruto performed the half-dot ram seal once more. Okay. Now I can hear you. I heard that you've been learning Fuinjutsu. I didn't think you'd be able to understand it. I'm guessing I was wrong? Naruto gave a shrug. It was a little complicated at first, but I got the hang of it pretty quickly. It's easy once you understand the concept of it, you know? Iruka gave a nod. Naruto nodded and went to sit next to the girl he had earlier seen laughing. Okay. Find a seat. He sat there, far from the people who had earlier attempted to assault him, and his actions still infuriated those girls. Naruto only partially listened to Iruka's explanation after that. He was more worried about the girl sitting next to him, who was rapidly turning her head away while attempting to get a few glimpses of him. Yes, she is crushing on me. Kid, you might as well tease her a bit. See how she takes it. Naruto succeeded in doing so and saw her glancing back at him. That time, she blushed so much that she fainted when he winked at her. I didn't anticipate that happening. She must have a low sense of self-worth. That needs to be addressed by someone. However, I believe that I would have to. Iruka proceeded to go through the teams, saying, all right, now for the teams. Team 1. When Sakura and Naruto's heads collided during the phrase. Team 7. Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno. Everyone was more perplexed by Naruto's response, believing he was still in love with her. Naruto lifted his head and slammed it through the desk once more, adding, and Sasuke Uchiha. Creating a hole in it this time. Everyone was staring at him in disbelief after that. He looked up. What the hell? This probably the worst people to put me with. Naruto. These teams are made with the Hokage's opinion. Sasuke was at the top of the class, you were at the bottom. The team has to be balanced. If you have a problem, you'll have to take it up with Hokage. Sama. Iruka replied. Naruto complained. Look at it this way, kid. At least you can keep an eye on the Uchiha, in case he shows any signs of becoming a traitor. Kira does have a point. A wise man once said, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. This could do just that. X concluded. Alright. I'll tolerate them, but I won't enjoy it, Naruto answered. Everyone left the classroom, but the fangirls gave Naruto a glare. Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame. Team 9 is still in session from last year, so Team 10 will be Ino Yamanaka, Shoji Akamichi, and Shikamaru Nara. Meet your senseis here in 2 hours. Until then, break for lunch. He chose to ignore them and eat in the classroom while opening a bento box. He opened a second one for Hinata's awakening. She did so 10 minutes later, while Naruto was still eating. Before he spoke, he swallowed what was in his mouth. He tapped the bento on the desk in front of her and said, I'm glad to see you're awake. Eat. You'll need it. She gave him a cautious glance before recognizing him. Don't faint on me again. Please, don't. He replied. You need to eat something, or it could happen again. But. She spoke haltingly. No buts. Just eat. I have enough for 8 men. I eat a lot. I'm sure I can spare one bento for someone else who could use it. Naruto grinned slightly. Conversely, Hinata flushed before accepting and unfolding the bento. A variety of foods that didn't exactly look edible were inside. He remarked, it tastes better than it looks. She grabbed a pair of chopsticks and nibbled a little. Naruto.kun. Would you mind if I had your lunch? She tasted it to see if it was good after putting the tiny bit in her mouth. She wasn't let down either. Indeed, she blinked a couple of times after swallowing it. This is good, she said, taking a larger piece and following suit. This is excellent. As she swiftly went over everything, she thought. She blushed when she realized it was gone in 30 seconds. Sorry. No worries. I know how to make something edible with little or no fancy stuff. I normally can't afford it anyway. It may not look edible at a glance, but I tell ya, it can be good if you try it. Acknowledged Naruto. So, how was it? His eyes captivated her as she gazed at him. Gee, great. Naruto said, you don't sound like you mean that. Is it really that good? She noticed that he was a little let down, and her eyes widened. She said in a low, nervous voice, yes. It was really good. I've never tasted anything like it. It would be an understatement. This is superior to what the Hyuga cooks produce. What's in it? Believe it or not, a lot of things that wouldn't really be edible on their own. I can somehow make them edible. I've been able to since I was 9. It's hard to do, but doing so all my life is the reason I can. It's either I do that, or I die of starvation, or live off of ramen for my entire life. I blame human ignorance for that. Acknowledged Naruto. I won't say what it is exactly, but just know that I wouldn't have given it to you if I didn't think it was okay to eat. She gave him a startled look but gave him a small nod. He didn't even look at her when he said, so, why are you so nervous? Naruto ignored the Anbu, who was observing the exchange. I mean, being from the Hyuga clan means you shouldn't really be that nervous. I'm actually kind of curious. What do you mean? Well, I'll let you know what I've noticed. You're shy, timid, nervous, and have a low self-esteem. Most other Hyuga I've known and seen are rude, arrogant, stuck up, have a superiority complex, and some even need to have surgery done to remove some of the sticks up their asses. None of which I see in yours. It's like you're everything the Hyuga clan isn't. A kind of black sheep, you know? She tilted her head. In a tiny whisper, she said, I'm too weak. That was heard by Naruto. No one is truly strong, nor weak. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. It's something I've learned on my own. I mean, I may have graduated at the bottom, and I can understand that. My brain isn't exactly something I used often, you know? She gave him a startled look. Why? Well, most of the village hates me for a reason beyond my control. I found out about it 2 weeks ago. I can honestly say they're fools for thinking that way, but that's just human nature. They don't understand, and humans fear what they don't understand. Though some try to understand it, they're too few and far in between. Human ignorance knows no bounds, you know? What is the reason? I'm sorry, but I can't say it. I may have accepted the fact that I have the reason. I don't necessarily like the fact they hold it over my head and hate me for it. I have a gift, but like all gifts it can be a blessing or a curse. Until I found out, it was little more than a curse. Now, I can make it a blessing. Use what I have to protect others. Prove the idiots wrong. Earn some kind of recognition for who I am. Not what I am. Without flinching, Hinata said, "That's just wrong." Naruto smiled slightly and said, "If they don't see you for you, then they are really stupid. Please? I want to know. Why do they hate you? I promise you, I won't hate you." Naruto cast his gaze downward. He looked at her and told her to stop talking for the time being. "I can't say. I'm sorry, but I don't think I can say it right now. I'll tell you someday. Just not now. I promise you that. And I don't go back on my word." When she realized what he wanted, she gave in. "He doesn't believe me. Don't get me wrong, Hinata. I will tell you someday. But I don't think I'll be able to handle it right now. It's not you. It's just me. I won't be telling anyone what it is. Not for a while." There, too, she had to give in. Those eyes were too much for her to refuse. All right. I won't ask again. Just, please, tell me when you're ready." Naruto gave a nod. "I plan on it. Anyway, shouldn't you go meet up with your family? I'm pretty sure they're worried." She gave a headshake. Her voice was low and sorrowful as she said, "Father, he thinks I'm weak. Sister, she won't even call me a sister." Taking in every word, Naruto uttered, "Well, that's just wrong." Looking down in embarrassment, she said, "Although I can see why they think that, coming from the Hyuga clan. You're not arrogant, you're not stuck up, and you're not mean. In fact, you're the only nice Hyuga I've ever seen. They probably tried to destroy your self-confidence, and it worked. Do not take their words as fact. If I did that, I wouldn't be who I am today. It's because I don't believe what they said is true, that I can keep going. The only one who can say who, or what you are, is you." He stood up and left the classroom. His final words before leaving the room were, "Think about it." Hinata remained motionless as she absorbed his words. After hearing everything, the Anbu keeping watch over them made a mental note to include it in a report. A few hours later, Hinata had not moved at all since everyone had reassembled in the classroom. Calling out team numbers, a number of Junin, both male and female, came into the room. Team 8 was summoned by a woman Naruto identified as Kurenai Yuhi. Hinata, who was still unconscious, caught his attention. He jolted her back to reality with a tap on her shoulder. He pointed to Kurenai and said, "Your sensei is here." She nodded and stood up, but before she lowered herself, she said something. "You were right. About earlier." Naruto's eyebrow went up. He answered, "We'll talk later." Since her team had departed, Kurenai raised an eyebrow at the exchange but remained silent. Everyone had left after 10 minutes, with the exception of Team 7, which included Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto. "Well, I had heard that this year, Kakashi Hatake would be getting a team. I've heard that he is 2 or 3 hours late for anything that isn't B rank or higher. Or a meeting with the Hokage." Naruto then unlocked a shogi board, made a shadow clone, and moved to the front of the classroom. Sakura and Sasuke were taken aback by his actions as he began to play himself. "Dobi, what are you doing?" one of the Naruto said, passing the time. Before moving a piece, the other said, "I think I know who our sensei is." The first one went on, "If I'm right, he'll be a few hours late." "So, I'm training my mind right now." Sakura responded, making it seem like a stupid error. "You're an idiot. How can a mere game train your mind?" She caught both Naruto's attention. They both spoke at the same time. "You may have had the highest grades among the females in class, but you are stupid. Use your mind for something other than the Uchiha, and find the similarity between things that few ever look for. Look underneath the underneath. If you cannot do that, then you cannot be a shinobi. You have book smarts. That's it. No skills, no common sense." Both of them turned to the Uchiha. "You are arrogant. You think everyone is beneath you, yet you never see the truth. You are not alone, even if your family is dead. There are people out there with no family, because someone else killed them. Myself included. When you lose the arrogance and sense of superiority, look for me. We will show you what you have missed all of these years." Both of them returned their gazes to the board and continued to play quietly. After an hour, one of the Narutos said, "Checkmate." The other said, "Damn." Sakura had been observing the passing game. She was taken aback by what was happening. She said, "Can I try?" There was smoke from one of the Narutos. She simply said, "Sure. Take a seat." She nodded and said, "You know how to play, right?" When she was younger, she had studied the game's rules. "I know the rules, and how to play. I just haven't done so." Naruto said, "That makes it simple. I've been playing myself for a while. Always trying to outdo myself. It's not easy, let me tell you." Sakura was defeated in just 5 minutes. She was stunned. "How?" Naruto said, "Your moves were too forward. I've been playing myself for weeks now. Believe it or not, your moves were predictable. By the book, even. Choose a different strategy. The official strategy book won't do you any good if you can't counter what your opponent does. Everything has a counter. You need to find it, and act on it, and you need to do so fast." She reassembled her pieces and said, "Again." Naruto smiled a little. Sakura had only lasted an additional minute this time. Checkmate. Still unable to understand how she lost, her eye began to twitch. She turned her quivering eye to him and said, "You know, Sakura, I think I see how you think now. Your moves say more about your mind than your actions. I see why I liked you before, but it isn't enough to sustain a relationship. Our mental processes don't match anywhere. You're too straightforward, believing everything you're told by your elders. I am too unpredictable. I question nearly everything, until I know the truth. You have a defined strategy to begin with, but you don't make room for adapting to your opponent. I go in with a goal, and make the strategy on the spot. My plans are never the same twice, because in life, nothing is certain. Take it from someone who's gone up against all odds just to survive in a place where everyone hates him." After noticing the ferocious tone, Sakura and Sasuke realized he was more complex than they initially believed. "It's because you're a troublemaker." Naruto shot back, "No, that was just me getting my own training done. The reason they hate me stems from the day I was born, and they've hated me all my life. Both of my parents are dead. That much I know. And the one that killed them. I'm going to kill him myself." Sasuke saw that and widened his eyes. Is he also seeking retribution? "I'm not so arrogant to believe I can take him on easily though. In fact, I doubt it would be easy to even survive the fight. After all, he survived a one-on-one fight with the Yondaime Hokage the day the Kyuubi attacked, before forcing the Kyuubi to attack the village as a last-ditch move. I want him dead, but I won't be willing to forsake everything I have, just to gain the power to beat him. He's not someone that power can defeat, and this is a fact, since he could control the Kyuubi no Yoko. He's done so twice, actually." Naruto clarified. "He created a second shadow clone. He opened a new game, which she watched carefully. Now if you'll excuse me, I'll get back to training my own mind." Suddenly curious about how he was getting ready for his own retaliation, Sasuke also began to observe. His sudden interest was noted by both Narutos, but they remained silent. Compared to his first one, this one took longer. This one took about an hour and a half to complete. "Checkmate," said the clone. The original said, "Fuck. You can't win them all, boss." The original said, "I can when I'm facing myself, because, in a way, I win against myself. And since I'm using shadow clones, I'd still get what I did from both sides." Though his expression didn't convey it, Sasuke asked, "How does this work for you?" with a hint of curiosity. Naruto gave him a look. The greatest obstacle to progression is oneself. You beat yourself, you will progress. In a simple board game like shogi, playing yourself is one way to counter anything you will do. By figuring out how to counter yourself, you will learn what others will do to counter your moves. If you know where you are weak, train yourself to get around it, or at least know how to counter what can counter you. In essence, I'm preparing myself for when someone that has more experience in finding weaknesses in a fight by learning how to find my own openings. To win a fight, you need more than just brute strength, speed, or pure brains. You need all three to win a fight. I've got the strength, and I'm working on the brains. Sasuke, you've got the speed. Sakura, you've got brains, as well. You just don't use it. 3 seconds before the door opened, Naruto turned to face it. "Team 7? As I thought," said Naruto. "My first impression of you. You bore me. Meet me on the roof." He disappeared. The board and pieces were sealed by Naruto. They all left the room and made it to the roof, where they saw him, saying, "Let's go. We don't want to keep him waiting." "Alright. So, since you're my team, why don't you introduce yourselves?" Sasuke noted, "We don't know anything about you. You go first." Naruto recognized his name and said, Alright. My name is Kakashi Hitaki." He reminded himself to inquire about that later. "I'm not a person that likes to talk about his likes, or dislikes. My dreams. I haven't thought about them. My hobbies. I have lots of hobbies. Naruto said, let me rephrase that. His name is Kakashi Hitaki. His likes are basically porn, and if you go into his mind, you'd find that he'd worship the author of the famous Icha Icha Paradise series. His dislikes are those that call it smut, and those that would burn Icha Icha, along with those that disregard their comrades or friends. His dream. Last I heard, his only dream when he was younger died when one of his teammates died on a mission gone wrong. And his hobby is reading Icha Icha. They all looked at him with disbelief. What? I listen to more than you think you know. Sasuke and Sakura weren't prepared for him to do that so fast. Kakashi said, I must say you did your research. You go next, then Blondie. Then Naruto shrugged. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are few, and I'll only say them to those I trust implicitly, which are also few. In fact, there are only 5 people in this village on that list. My dislikes are those that make my shit list, very few, my top shit list, 1 person there, rapists, extreme perverts. He turned to Sakura, and don't comment about my sexy jutsu, because that was made for 2 reasons. Because I initially had trouble with the henge, and to bust perverts. I also dislike people who judge others based off of name or rumor. You won't find me doing that. My hobbies. I had a mental evaluation recently. I really have no hobbies. Pranking is just a way to train. My dream. I have 2. 1 is to be like my idol. The other. I said it earlier in the classroom, and that same person is on my top shit list. Kakashi asked, and who might that be? You wouldn't believe me if I told you, so why say anything on his name? Said Naruto. That's what Kakashi had to give him. Pinky, you're up. Looking at Sasuke, he says, my name is Sakura Haruno. My likes are. My hobbies. Blushes as she looks at Sasuke. She gazes up at the sky and says, my dream. It got confused earlier. And your dislikes? Inquired Kakashi. Ino. Pig? Screamed Sakura. Even Naruto did not flinch. However, Kakashi and Sasuke did. Sakura was all Naruto could see. Did you say something? Sakura asked, flinching. Kakashi cheered in his head. He already possesses one of my qualities. I'm going to enjoy him. Sakura screamed, you idiot. What was that about hearing more than we think, huh? Naruto let out a sigh. I can't hear you right now, and for a reason. I don't like your screech. It's like a banshee. So, I have a counter for it. As such, as long as the countermeasure is in effect, like it is now, I can't hear a damn thing. Prior to noticing a tiny chakra spike, Kakashi glanced at Naruto, who was wearing a half-dot ram seal sound barrier. Naruto gave a nod. It helps. How did you learn it? Fuinjutsu. Kakashi gave a nod in agreement. Duckbutt, you're up. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. My dislikes are many, and I don't like anything. My hobbies are running around the village, so ask about them. Dreams, that's just a word. But I do have determination. I plan to restore my clan, and destroy a certain someone. Naruto took a tomato out. So, you're telling me that stash of tomatoes in your house is worth nothing? He inquired. Sasuke's gaze expanded. How did you? Naruto said, tossing the tomato. I get around. After catching it, Sasuke consumed the tomato. Naruto. Can it sensei? Or do you want me to burn your limited edition, author signed, first volume Icha Icha Paradise? You wouldn't, he exclaimed, his eyes widening. Naruto rose and made his way to the balcony. Don't tempt me. Someone tried that, and ended up with his pride and honor shattered beyond repair. Kakashi reached for his satchel. He made an effort to shake it off. Tomorrow, meet me at Training Ground 7 at 0700. You'll have the true genin test then and there. And don't eat breakfast. You'll puke. He left in a cloud of smoke. Naruto didn't even give the others a glance. He leapt over the balcony, sending the other 2 running in its direction. If I were you, I'd eat. Word of advice, from your friendly neighborhood orphan. But they didn't see Naruto. Then Sakura began. Where did he? Before leaving, Sasuke said, he's insane. Sasuke, do you think we should take his advice? Sasuke said, do what you want, as long as it doesn't involve me. I'll take his advice, but I don't think Sakura will. Sakura considered it. What was the last thing Naruto said? Examine the underside of the underside. If he's against us having breakfast. Does he truly want to make us weaker? I must give it some thought. For once, she didn't think about Sasuke as she walked home alone. Somewhere, on a beach, a woman wearing a Peace bikini, sunglasses, and golden yellow hair in a ponytail was lounging and taking in the clouds. A man approached her wearing a black suit. Samus Aran? The girl gave him a look. What does the Federation want with me now? I'm retired. They are calling a favor. Something they seem to think you could help with. She examined the sunglasses, and they can't get someone else to do it. They explained that only you could do so for some reason, but are not explaining why, the man said. Samus, the girl, considered it. She got up and went into a nearby locker room to change into a completely blue sweatsuit, underneath jeans and a red t-shirt that said, "Don't mess with me." On the front end, or pay the consequences. On the back. I'll see what it is, but if I take it, I do so my way. Not theirs. After entering a neighboring city, they proceeded to a 33-story building and reached the 30th floor before making several detours and arriving at a briefing room with just one table. A second man came in with a folder. So, why are you calling me out of retirement? I don't work for the Federation anymore. Not after the incident with the X. You remember your old power suit? Why do you ask that question? I still have it, and managed to integrate the abilities I gained during the whole X incident that it didn't have. Why? A few weeks ago, we had a suit activate. It had the same frequency as your power suit. Being as you were nowhere near the area it happened, it being out of Federation territory, and you being nearby. She took notice of this. Do you know how? I could show you exactly where my power suit is. It has been there for the past 5 weeks. I've got one more week before I go looking for another bounty. At that, the man nodded. We of the Federation are asking that you find out where this suit is, and if necessary, destroy it. And why me? Because, officially, you're not a part of the Federation, and the area is not within Federation territory. We can provide you coordinates, but we cannot send you any help, if you need it. There is no planet in the archives at that particular location, either. If it is a space shuttle, then that means someone managed to reproduce your power suit, but if that were the case, it wouldn't have the same code. Do you think it could be that Dark Samus again? He survived one death blow. It could be he survived a second, Samus offered. In any case, you're the only one we'd trust with this. Do you accept? I have conditions. Name them. Number 1. I do this my way, not the Federation's way, said Samus. We figured you would say that, and we couldn't correct anything you do either way. It's not our jurisdiction. Number 2. I get a full upgrade to my ship prior to leaving, and no tracers. We can do that. Number 3. If there are any other bounty hunters after me, you let me know, but do not intercept them. He said, that is debatable. Samus furrowed his brow. If we find them heading your way, we can intercept them, but letting you know about it without doing so is against protocol. She shot back, so is calling in a retired soldier, your point? That was a must for the man. We will keep an eye on the area, and any bounty hunters going there. We will send a message on who they are, but that is all I can do for sure. After giving it some thought, Samus nodded. Pay? If you can bring the suit back intact, then you will get 3 million. If the suit must be destroyed, 2 million. 2.5 million if destroyed. 3 million if it's Dark Samus. Do you have any of its abilities? He placed the folder in front of her and said, everything we know is in this folder, and that should be acceptable. After looking through it, she discovered that the only thing they knew was her power suit's code. Hold on a second. The code was altered during the X incident and has stayed altered ever since. It did not go back. Is it possible? Were any of the X still alive? No. I ensured that they would not. I retired for that reason. However, if the X is responsible for this, then... Samus said, this just hit the top of my priority list. Alright. We'll get everything ready. Make sure your suit is ready as well. We'll need you at your best. With a nod, Samus stood up and proceeded to the door. As she walked away, she muttered to herself, I hope my best is enough. I just hope I'm mistaken. She had another thought as she entered the elevator, but given my luck, I'm correct, and I would still need to do this. Hokage's workspace and Anbu wearing a bear mask was meeting with Sarutobi. What did you find out? He produced a scroll and said, it seems that Uzumaki is not currently under the Kyuubi's control. Exact details are in here. After opening the scroll, Sarutobi read it. He gave a nod. Good. However, there is something that startles me. The Anbu nodded and said, the one that made his top shit list. I only hope that it isn't anyone from this village. It would have to be. However, what you put in here about his parents being killed. I have a feeling that whoever made that list is the one that killed his parents. But I know that his parents died against the Kyuubi. I am beginning to think that it isn't the Kyuubi, but someone who managed to force the Kyuubi into attacking. It is only speculation, of course, but the possibility is there. Kuma said. I do not believe there is much to worry about regarding the matter, but there must be a damn good reason for this person to make his top shit list, if the village hasn't hit his shit list, and I doubt it has. Sarutobi gave a nod of agreement. Any concerns from your point of view? Only one. Anyone that makes his top shit list should fear for their life. That is all I have. Sarutobi gave that a nod. On that, we can agree. If Naruto does not pass the secondary genin exam, then I would like to take him on as an apprentice, Kuma said. I do not think it is necessary. Jiraiya has already claimed that spot. I have sent word he finally made it past the first genin exam. If he doesn't pass the second one, Jiraiya will return and train him as an apprentice. Knowing the council, however, Kakashi will be forced to train the Uchiha anyway, so I doubt they will fail. The Anbu gave a nod. The following day at 0830. At Training Ground 7, Sasuke and Sakura awaited the arrival of Naruto and Kakashi. Naruto approached them while carrying a tiny, gelatinous creature on his shoulder. It had a vivid green hue. Sasuke said, "You're late, Dobi." Well, I had breakfast this morning, and knowing his reputation I got an extra hour of sleep. I figured he'd be late anyway, and as long as I'm here before he is, then, by all means, I am not late, replied Naruto. So, who took my suggestion? Sakura and Sasuke both held up their hands. Good. Sakura, out of all three of us, you'd need it the most. Sakura's head was down, but Sasuke nodded at that. Look, I'm only stating the facts. Out of all three of us, you're the weakest physically. However, you've got the most brains in the book department. I've got the most street smarts, and Sasuke has the most accuracy in skills. I can pretty much spam disposable units the same way I played myself in Shogi yesterday. On a full tank, I can make maybe 1,000, possibly more. Most Junin can only make 50 at most, 100, but that's pushing it. That's also the reason why I could never get the clone jutsu down. I simply have way too much chakra, and nowhere near enough control of it. Sakura has the opposite problem. She has way too little chakra, and a lot more control. Sasuke has more chakra than the average genin, but also less control than Sakura. More than I do, to be honest. Sakura couldn't even make a single shadow clone, while Sasuke. You could probably make 2, but you'd pass out from chakra exhaustion right after doing so. You'd barely have any chakra to spare for anything, so don't ask me to teach it either of you until you get to Chunin, at least. If I find you could benefit from it earlier, then I will talk to you about it. Otherwise, I'd say don't ask. Then he took a seat close to one of the 3 stumps. I'll be waiting for Kakashi to show up. For now, don't bother me. I need a clear head for this. Wait, what's with that blob on your shoulder? With his eyes closed, Naruto answered, a friend. He'll be able to heal me if I need it. And don't get any ideas. For anyone but me, the side effects could be drastic. The last one, aside from myself, almost died from it. I'm unaffected, for some reason, but I don't know why. It's one of the things I could question all day, every day, and never get an answer. Since I found out about them, and I haven't found the slightest clue as to why, but I'm not about to chance the risk. Kakashi didn't show up until nearly an hour later. The time was 10 in the morning. Yo. You're late, yelled Sakura. Sorry, but I got lost on the road of life. Naruto's eyes opened. Kakashi turned to face Naruto and said, I get lost on the highway to hell frequently. You want some advice? What you want to do is go over Slamback Mountain. It's the second tallest among the entire road. Once you do that, you find a small cave with an emerald over the entrance, and go in. You'll end up on a bridge. That bridge is the highway to hell. Go the way everyone else is coming from. You'll end up here sooner or later. Kakashi started to perspire. He drew out 2 bells and then an alarm clock, saying, okay. Your test is to get these from me. He raised an eyebrow at the lack of growls and then placed the alarm clock on a stump. You have until noon. Those who do not get the bell will go without lunch, and will be sent back to the academy. Sakura and Sasuke were happy to take Naruto's advice. If you want to get the bells, you have to come at me with the intent to kill. Ready? Go. Sakura and Sasuke leapt away and went into hiding. Naruto remained motionless. You do realize that you'd have to hide now. What's the point? Wanted to know Naruto. This test is bound to fail anyways. I already see your game, Kakashi. What game? The bells, suggesting us to forego eating, showing up late, it all points to 2 things. 1. You want our mental ability to diminish for number 2. 2. You want to split us up. Have us argue for the bells. All this points to a third point. This test isn't about the bells. It's about teamwork. Naruto clarified. Although Kakashi didn't appear to react, he was deeply shocked on the inside. How did he discover it so fast? Do you have any proof of your claim? I've got some really good help on my side, but take a look into the history of our village. Sakura, I know you can hear me too, so listen up. How many of the Genin teams started out with 2 Genin and a Junin? There are none in all of recorded history. It happens with Chunin, and even Junin from time to time, but never with Genin. There are cases with 1 Genin and 1 Junin, but that's an apprentice learning under a master in one area. It never works out with 2 Genin and 1 Junin. If you were really going for an apprentice, you'd only have 1 bell, not 2. If you're going for a Team Academy graduates, there can only be 3. Finally, you're an elite Junin, retired from the Anbu. What chance do 3 fresh Genin have to beat you one-on-one? Even with all the skills I have, all the skills Sasuke has, and Sakura's brains, we wouldn't even come close to hitting you to get the bells. So I ask again, what's the point? He's throwing everything everyone knows about him out the window, Sakura thought as she heard what he was saying. Hold on. If, as he claimed, everyone despises him, he was concealing his actual talent. Sasuke's gaze was fixed on Naruto. Did he truly conceal his abilities as I had assumed? To what extent does he really know? I have to see where his strength comes from. However, why does he behave this way if he is truly seeking retribution? There's no logic to it. So, if I gave you both bells, right here and now, without a fight, what would you do with them? I'd give them to Sasuke and Sakura. Besides, believe it or not, I have a back up in case I don't become a Genin here, replied Naruto. Kakashi gave nod. Sasuke, Sakura, get out here. Naruto landed beside Sakura and Sasuke. Kakashi placed the bells in Naruto's hands and said, prove it. As he had stated, he placed them in Sakura's and Sasuke's hands. In fact, he did so without hesitation at all. So, you really did. However, the fact that you don't have a bell means you would fail. The blob dropped a book as it drifted over to Naruto's hand. Kakashi recognized the book. Before presenting the book to Kakashi, Naruto said, thank you. I believe you know what this is, correct? Kakashi's eyes went wide with fear. The book was in his pocket when he looked at it. That's not mine. Kakashi did just that after Naruto shot back, then pull out the one in your pouch. The book was a simple romance. He was also unable to read it. What the? He glanced at the book in Naruto's hand, then at the sadistic smile on Naruto's face. I could destroy this book right here, right now, unless you pass all 3 of us. You're bluffing. With an eyebrow raise, Naruto threw some of Kirazuki into it. It wouldn't appear to be that dangerous, nor would it be noticeable to anyone beyond a 50-meter radius. They burned the book. I told you yesterday, don't tempt me. No, exclaimed Kakashi, lowering himself to his knees. You pass, and I'm ruined. Before yelling, Naruto said, no you're not. The romance book transformed into a book about Icha Icha Paradise. That was just a regular copy I burned. Not your limited edition. The book on the floor caught Kakashi's attention. He picked it up and used it to rub his cheek. My precious. He cleared his throat after realizing he wasn't alone. Meet me tomorrow on the bridge at 0800. You're a team now, if only because of Naruto. We start missions tomorrow. Dismissed. Kakashi departed quickly. Sasuke extended his hand to Naruto. Underhanded, but whatever works. Naruto took hold of it. If it works, it works. If not, try another approach. Sakura touched their hand. We're a team, right? Maybe you could help me, Sasuke? Not interested. Come off it, Sasuke. She needs the help. I can get her stamina up with ease. That I can do. Stamina means little without accuracy or speed. That's your department. Sakura needs both of us, and you need my stamina. I need your accuracy, and I've got my own way to improve my mental capacity. Sakura is a walking dictionary, after all. Her current talents would put her in either medical ninjutsu or genjutsu. If you have any of those in the Uchiha clan jutsu archives, provided they write down all jutsu they copy, then you could hand those to her, and have her work on that. Maybe then, she wouldn't be nearly worthless. In the ninja world, she would be worthless. Aside from her Banshee's wail, which could effectively stun the opponent, though I would easily say that it would be a double-edged sword in that respect. Just now, Sasuke recalled the library. Now that I think about it, we probably do. I'd have to check, but there's an entire library filled with jutsu over the years. There might be something in there she could use. Naruto gave a nod. I'm a chakra tank, through and through. I could spam shadow clones with ease, and I could probably spam ninjutsu out the wazoo if I had any decent ones. I'd still need control to the highest level possible. Either way, I'm working on my fuinjutsu. I've got quite a bit on hand, but I've still got a ways to go to be a true master. Sakura gave him a look. Why are you even trying fuinjutsu? That's the most complicated area of the shinobi area. Even with your recent showings, I don't see how it would help you much. Naruto turned his gaze to the sky. They both glanced at him and said, My mother was an expert in the subject. I have to at least try it out. If not for me, then for her. He exhaled. Well, I did, and it was pretty good so far. My mother left a message for me. I found it, and she was an expert at fuinjutsu. An unknown master. Something that was both rare, and being unknown in a master was unheard of. There are very few true masters of the art, and the Yondaime was considered a master. She beat him out there. Her best works in fuinjutsu beats out the Yondaime's Hiraishin with relative ease. The only thing that she could never outdo, however, was how the Yondaime defeated the Kyuubi. That's all there is to it. How do you know that? Naruto acknowledged. Well, it ties into how I graduated. The whole matter was considered an S-class secret, so I can't say anything under penalty of death. The Hokage is the one you'd have to ask, but I doubt he'd tell you, to be honest. Sakura nodded when she saw the dodge. Alright. Sasuke, why don't you go check and see if there are any medical ninjutsu in that library of yours? For now, I'd have to get my stamina up. That's Naruto's department, right? She eventually became uneasy. She's got a point there. You've got the sources. Why not make use of them? I doubt medical ninjutsu is your thing, anyway. Sasuke nodded despite raising an eyebrow. I'll look, but if I don't find anything, then it's your loss. Sakura gave a nod. Sakura turned to face Naruto and almost puked at his smirk as he left. Sakura became frightened at that moment. If you want stamina, I can easily get you where you need to be. I will listen to no complaints. Why does it feel like I may have made the best and worst choice of my life? Oh, you don't know. 2 weeks later, Kakashi was observing Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura as they stood in a clearing. Over the past 2 weeks, they had significantly improved. Sakura received all of the medical jutsu that were in his clan's library, which Sasuke had been sharing. Even though it was difficult because of the quantity of chakra, Sasuke had started to learn everything he could from the fire element. With wind jutsu, Naruto proved to be an expert. Within an hour, he was able to master a C-rank wind jutsu. Sasuke let Naruto practice wind jutsu since he had discovered that it was his strongest suit, but he didn't ask for many. Kakashi arched an eyebrow at him, but he was more focused on his fuinjutsu. He was currently working his way through level 3, which he had just reached. He was on the verge of entering the cryo storage seal, the one he had pursued from the start. After completing the levels, he only went through the exploding tags and storage seals. It was very beneficial to the team. He made the decision to teach them one thing after observing their development as a team and how they already support one another. Sakura displayed the scroll, appearing to have gone through hell, and said, Okay, team, come over here. Which she most likely possessed. Naruto's boot camp was the name of it. Because they had spent years training their bodies, Naruto and Sasuke were in better shape than she was. Alright, I've noticed how you were acting as a team, and I am impressed. I was beginning to think that this wasn't going to work out. But that's in the past, and here's the present. I'm going to teach you something I figure you'll all need. Control. They all raised an eyebrow at this. How? Was implied but not stated. He pointed up and said, It is simple, really, climb a tree. But there's a catch. Naruto gave a headshake. What catch? Inquired Sakura. Kakashi said, You can't use your hands. The genin gave him an insane look. He put his foot to the trunk and made the ram hand sign, saying, I'll demonstrate. After climbing the trunk, he hung upside down on a branch. He took out 3 kunai and threw them at the genin's feet, saying, It's really easy. Channel chakra to the soles of your feet to stick. You might want a running start. Use those to mark your progress. When Naruto realized what was required, he approached a tree. He stepped onto the tree, channeled chakra, and assessed responses. It pushed the foot back once. That seemed excessive to him. He dropped it a good deal, nearly to the charged shot level. It's still too much. He raised his other leg and lowered it to a standard shot before his foot slipped. Kakashi heard him say, Too much, it pushes me off. Too little, I don't stick. As I thought. And what did you think, Naruto? That this is to get a feel for how to get it to a specific point at a specific level. You are showing knowledge that you shouldn't have, but yes, that's exactly the point. Sasuke had just fallen, however, and looked at Naruto. Why haven't you gone up yet? Putting a theory to the test, and I was right. He tried to get it to the right point, and walk up the trunk. He got up there a lot faster than Sasuke, who was running from the start. Once Naruto reached the top, after falling 3 times, he started running, which was slightly harder. He was still working on it like the other two for a while, and went through a few taijutsu forms on the tree trunk to prove he had mastered it. 3 hours, Naruto, I'm impressed. It just comes down to knowing what to do and keeping it where you need to, Naruto said, blinking as he glanced at Kakashi. After you master that, it's very simple. Additionally, I see that the change in gravity direction has no effect on you. Would you mind explaining that? All in the head. Naruto tapped his temple, saying, you're horizontal in reality, but your mind places you on the ground. Considering that, it truly just comes down to perspective. After hearing this, Sasuke made the decision to test his strategy and work on locating the correct location first. He then walked up and discovered that it was much simpler, getting higher than before descending, exhausted. How did I become so proficient so fast? Well, I actually question almost everything, Naruto said. That's what I said. You begin to ask the right questions when you realize how little you actually know. If you ask the right questions, you will find the answer you seek. Instead of asking, how did I get this strong so quickly? The proper question to ask is, what is helping me get this good this quickly? One that I am unable to respond to, so it will remain unanswered. I haven't been able to find the answer to that question. And why don't you understand how you recover? Sasuke almost hissed, but he made an effort to control it. Because I could blame the teacher, but that is pointless because, aside from Iruka Sensei, no one at the academy actually taught me anything, and even he started too late to reverse the damage. It's possible that, for the first time in my life, I'm learning something useful. I don't even know where to start because there are so many factors contributing to my progress. Naruto walked to the ground and turned to face Kakashi, who said, the academy is supposed to teach the basics. When no one wants to teach, it's difficult to learn the fundamentals. I learned everything I needed to know to graduate on my own. In any case, everyone else wanted me out of the picture. To be honest, I'm accustomed to it. In their eyes, it's better that I die than them, he shrugged. I discovered how to avoid it and stop letting people criticize me for who I am. Still, I play a practical joke on them. In my case, pranking took 2 forms. Retaliation against the village and training. Nobody is harmed. At least physically. Many people laugh, and I get the satisfaction of accomplishing something. Raising an eyebrow, Sasuke said, vengeful pranks? I would only get into trouble if I killed someone who irritates me and who is only partially correct in the eyes of the law. Therefore, neither their life nor even their body is what I am targeting. Their pride is what I'm after. Their honor. The worst penalty a civilian can receive is that. Make it impossible for them to see themselves in the mirror. That's sweet retaliation, my friend. Additionally, nobody visits the morgue or the hospital. If you know what you're doing, it's simple, safe, and can be very satisfying. But in some cases, that wouldn't be sufficient. Right now, I would only go after his life, and I'm not yet prepared to take him on. Furthermore, I have a suspicion that he will pursue me in the near future, even if I choose not to pursue him. You do things that could kill them for vengeance in the village, but make it totally non-lethal. Sakura understood what he was saying. Bingo. I do it to avoid legal issues while still getting satisfaction. My endurance is being trained by the chases. I learn other things from the act. For instance, when I acquired the Nara clan. In order to enter, complete my tasks, and exit, I had to do everything within my power. Along the boundaries of space. Samus, we are getting closer to our destination. ETA 10 minutes. Samus was in a spaceship traveling at the speed of light toward the suit's last known coordinates. Go ahead and register that. Prepare the suit. Computer, when we reach the coordinates, if it is a planet, scan it for signs of life, and if it is hospitable. Understood. Pod 3 has the suit, the computer said. Samus entered the pod, felt the suit being put on, closed her eyes, and the suit and helmet appeared on her body. A voice changer was present, but it was not in use. God, I hope I'm wrong, Samus said, looking out the windshield, the front window. The computer said, scanning for signs of life. Scan complete. Life is abundant. Atmosphere. Identical to planet Earth in Gamma Quadrant. She had stopped using light speed a few minutes earlier. At that, Samus arched an eyebrow. Technology? Not sure. Do you have a way to get in touch with someone down there? Yes, scanning, albeit inactively. Contact them. Processing. Unable to contact. Systems are fully shut down, but the location has been verified. Gosh. Go to that place. Something used it to get there, whatever it is. The suit might have been discovered there. Samus said, are the X close to the device? Warning. Trace elements of X detected. The computer said, I was right. Certainly close, but the X has more traces of life than the technological site. Destination? Samus sang, get me to the site with technology, and get an entire topographic map, and download into my suit. I understand. What else? For the time being, no, I'm so happy that I made an X sensor for this ship in the suit. It appears that the X haven't been defeated yet, which means that one of the X survived the explosion. I just hope it's not frightening the locals. Prepare for landing as the ship entered the atmosphere. Samus buckled up. With Team 7 and Naruto, something was falling from the sky, and Naruto saw it. Hey guys, is that a meteor or is it just me? Stop bringing up other topics. Sasuke yelled. No, I'm not kidding. He gestured up, and Sasuke looked there before turning his head away entirely. What the? The so-called meteor grew larger, but X was the first to recognize it, followed by Naruto, who saw that it wasn't a meteor when the tiny green blob approached him and became frightened. What's the matter? Naruto was the only one who could understand the numerous squeaks. It's dangerous, he said. I sense it. I know it wants to kill me. Naruto turned his head toward what his friend thought was a threat and glared at it, saying, I'm beginning to think it's not a meteor. He then squinted his eyes and said, X, I think you'd be the most knowledgeable on this. It's a ship. Not just any ship, though, it is Samus Aran's property. Anywhere, I know that suit frequency, X answered. In his mind, Naruto said, wait, you mean Samus Aran is coming here? Why? I'm not sure. However, I think she is aware of our presence. With the ones we currently have, you'll need to exercise caution. Unless she attacks you, I wouldn't advise wearing your suit, X cautioned. I get it. Let's see why she's here first. If she's hunting you, I'll have to stop her from pursuing you. If she's here for another reason, I'll try to assist, provided it doesn't put you in danger. Kid, exercise caution. She'll be alert. She probably hasn't been here before. The ship had swerved slightly to the north, and Naruto could see it. Country forests on fire. There was a clearing with wreckage, another ship had landed close by, and a tiny hole was made at the bottom, and Samus emerged, wearing her power suit, which was equipped with the capabilities of her fusion suit, so she didn't have to worry about the X pursuing her. She looked at the wreckage and discovered that it was a ship that had been destroyed, but not just any ship. Samus thought, wait. This ship is. Does this mean that he is here? The voice changer came on. Computer, is there anything you can learn from this wreckage? On it. First, obtain the topography. Samus commanded, then get the information. Before you could look around, the topography of the entire landmass and the nearby islands was scanned, and the data was downloaded into your visor. After locating her location on the map, Samus asked, where is the closest X on this map? The closest location with X is about 30 miles from your location, and a red dot appeared on the map. It zoomed in and landed on a larger village that looked like a town. Are the cardinal directions with you? Samus inquired. The visor has been updated to match the cardinal directions, and the map is already set in those directions. Thanks. Data extraction finished. That was quick, Samus said, glancing at the ship. Does anyone have a registration for the ship? Yes, there is one Minato Etherway, based on Cross. Reference, it seems that he is your biological brother. He is, sighed Samus. Or was. This appears to be a more private aspect. I can only recall his appearance as a child. Not the way he behaved or responded. For what duration have the systems been unavailable? The galactic calendar and what seems to be this planet's calendar are essentially the same. There are 12 months in a year, and the year span is the same as Earth's. The last log, which was made 13 years ago, was set in 2 dates. Are there any records on people or events there? Samus asked, nodding. Should I send them to your suit? They've already been extracted? No, I'm returning inside. Before returning to the ship and entering the cockpit, Samus remarked, bring up the extracted files on the main screen. I'll need to see them myself. She spent hours reading the logs and learned a lot about the world she was on, but it was the last log that broke her heart. The log of Minato. Since I haven't used my true name in a very long time, I think I should mention it here. I am now Minato Namikaze, and I am no longer an Etherway. If this ship is discovered as wreckage, I am most likely dead because I am the only one who knew where my ship was. Regardless, my wife, Minato Namikaze, is 6 months pregnant. The test results indicate that the child will be male, and we have decided to name him Naruto. My wife and I are thrilled about the news, but she is a little afraid because she is a Jinchuriki. You see, I've studied Fuinjutsu extensively and discovered something that could be very dangerous. The seal that holds back the demon weakens when a female Jinchuriki is about to give birth. If the Kyuubi no Yoko is released, Kushina will die from it and be unable to watch our son grow. As Hokage, I would have to make sure that it doesn't destroy the village. My home. I've learned everything I can about Fuinjutsu, and I should be able to keep it steady, but still, I worry for my son. As I mentioned in a few of my earlier logs, Fuinjutsu is used in a manner that is uncannily similar to technology, but it can be more effective but also more lethal if something goes wrong. If I'm dead, I most likely died sealing the Kyuubi. If you took these logs out of my ship, give it to my sister, Samus Etherway. I apologize if I can't meet you, but I can't bring my son into the Federation. It will hurt him more than it will help. I've attached a file with the names, skills, and specialties of people I can only hope are still alive. No suit is required, but those on this list can be trusted because I trusted them with my life. Look for these folks and ask them about me using the name I've used here if you ever find yourself in a tight spot. We use something like plasma weapons here, but it's chakra. If I'm not here, find my son and make sure he's safe. Be careful with the limited ammunition, though. I doubt there are any refill stations here. Guns are non-existent. Cannons. Rare, but not enough to warrant mass production of ammunition. You should begin your search there because if I know Hiruzen, he will assume the role of Hokage upon my death, and if my son is still alive but I am not, he will call him Naruto Uzumaki. If I can't trust Jiraiya with my son, I hope I can trust my sister. Looks like he prepared for me coming here, said Samus, opening the file to reveal the complete dossiers. After a while, he must have learned to foresee future events. Something we had in common. Samus thought, computer, get pod 3 ready for full merging. I'll be walking the distance while dressed in civilian clothes. Recognize. Ready. When Samus entered the pod, the suit vanished and she was wearing jeans, a long sleeved shirt, and track shoes. I'm going out, she said. Put the key in setting 4 and all the locks in setting 9. She began to walk to the closest town after Samus left and the door closed. She would typically need 4 days to reach what Minato informed her was Konohagakure, but she would never get there before encountering difficulties. 3 days following Samus's landing, a briefing for Team 7 was underway. Team 7 here, requesting a C-rank mission. Iruka gave Kakashi a disbelieving glance and said, "Are you serious? Genin, they're just fresh." Even so, they are already at the high Genin level. Kakashi said, they can manage a low C rank. I'll assign an escort mission to your team, the Hokage said, nodding. A bridge builder from Wave Country has asked you to accompany him while he constructs his bridge. He has no higher expectations than bandits and thugs. We'll take it. As the door opened, Sarutobi said, send him in. It displayed an inebriated elderly man. I request ninja, but all I get is a bunch of children. The sake bottle in his hand shattered. A kunai was in the wall, and Naruto walked up to it, ignoring the shocked looks everyone had. As he pulled it out of the wall, he spoke. Don't underestimate us. You'll be sorry you did it. Naruto. Was that something you had to do? Sakura asked. I provided him with the proof he requested it that we are ninja. I would have killed him if I truly wanted to. Naruto answered, and he wouldn't have realized it until it was too late. Tazuna is my name. And the old man said, I see that at least one of you has brass balls. His balls aren't brass. Sasuke replied. They've got to be diamond-studded or something. Sakura went on to say, he does call the Hokage old man. Is calling someone in a position of authority something other than polite? Sakura and Sasuke deadpanned, yes. I think it would be refreshing. Instead of recognizing what they are, it recognizes who they are. Anyway, I might as well gather my supplies, sensei. How long, and which gate? Naruto nodded and just disappeared, saying, North Gate, 2 hours. How is that accomplished? I mean, I can never see any chakra manipulation whatsoever, asked Sasuke. Keep in mind that he has some Fuinjutsu lessons. If it led him to his house or something, I wouldn't be shocked. With Naruto, it took Naruto some time to construct this point without anyone else knowing, but since the property was his, there was no need to do so otherwise. Naruto found himself in a secret section of his house, where a seal on his body permitted him to enter and no one else could enter without passing through 50 meters of dirt and soil and 5 meters of concrete. Green, yellow, and red X floated contentedly around the room he was in. I have an out of town mission. I'll need some assistance and supplies because it's probably going to take a few weeks. Would anyone like to attend? He was approached by a number of green X and a red X. Naruto had discovered that each X had a unique ability, such as the green X healing chakra or the yellow X healing wounds. The red X, on the other hand, were a little tricky. He had tried it on a wild rabbit and it had worked, but it hadn't died yet, and the red X couldn't bring someone back to life if necessary. He packed a few storage scrolls, cryo storage scrolls, and his long-term mission pack scroll. A few X went into his bag, while one green X remained on his shoulder, and he entered the teleporter, arriving in his tiny apartment. After putting them in their proper places and going through his kunai stores, shuriken, he left his house, locked it, and headed for the north gate, arriving there swiftly but with a sense of dread. Something's not right. I don't know if it's with the mission or something else. Except for Kakashi, who was 5 minutes late, everyone else showed up on time. All right. For the sake of safety, what did everyone pack? I have everything I really need, and a few things just in case, Sakura said, displaying her belongings. Kakashi nodded. I also have some scrolls on medical ninjutsu to work on if we have cycles. Kakashi was okay with Sasuke having the necessities. With a sigh, Naruto said, I have 6 cryo storage scrolls, a few storage scrolls, and my long-term mission scroll in case I ever need them. In addition, I've prepared 5,000 exploding tags for use in a future scroll. Tazuna perspired, but Kakashi nodded, saying, I also have nearly 600 kunai sealed, and another 500 shuriken, 20 fuma shuriken, and various other weapons in case we need to blow some shit up. Basically, I probably have what you need, whether it's an army, a demolition expert, or anything else. What is this child? An army? No, this is just a scroll for my long-term mission. At least 4 times as many weapons and a far greater variety are included in my armory scroll. Glancing at Kakashi, Tazuna said, I think he's crazy. Irrational? Perhaps. Crazy? Many people believe so. Is there anything he's saying? Probably, Kakashi said, uncomfortable feeling? But I'm not sure if it's the mission or something else, Naruto said, nodding. It might be both. I wouldn't take 6 cryo storage scrolls if it weren't. Is there something you're hiding, Tazuna? Kakashi asked, glancing at the now apprehensive Tazuna. I'm not aware of any. Simply, how often are his negative emotions unfounded? My danger sense has never let me down. It is highly probable that things will not proceed as planned if I have a bad feeling. I therefore get ready for everything. However, this feeling has both positive and negative aspects, and unlike other times, I am unable to pinpoint its origin or cause, Naruto clarified. Well, let's hope you're mistaken. I sincerely hope he's mistaken, Tazuna said, because I don't think I could afford a mission upgrade. Kakashi said, all right, let's move out. Whatever was wrong is coming this way. Or we're going in its direction, thought Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura as Naruto's strange feeling intensified and he tensed up after a few hours out. An hour later, they discovered a person in front of a tethered ninja, and Naruto knew that this was how he felt. Ignoring his teammates, Naruto approached the girl who sighed, grabbed her stun pistol, and pointed it at him before stopping. Who are you? With both curiosity and malice in his voice, he inquired. Who is interested in knowing? She inquired. Naruto shot back, that depends on why you're here. Kakashi began, nah. But Naruto interrupted. With his arm extended, Naruto remarked, I know that weapon, and it's possible that she's pursuing us, sensei. No one in the elemental nations could produce it, even if it were only for stunning. Kakashi took notice of that. What do you mean? With a whip attachment, Naruto eyed the weapon, a stun blaster, and said, tell me why you're here, and if you mean no harm to me, or my friends, I will not bother you. I have 2 reasons for being here. The first is to locate my brother. Finding a battlesuit that activated a few weeks ago is the other. Naruto thought, battlesuit. She must be referring to my suit, and what's your name? Samus. Now, what is yours? Said the now identified Samus Aran. Naruto Uzumaki. Her eyes showed recognition. How do you know the name? I don't know of any siblings. Are you aware of your father's location? Dead, but that's not the point. Samus said, it is the point. Minato Etherway was my brother's name. He changed his name to fit the place after crashing here about 30 years ago. His wife was 6 months pregnant at the time of his last log. It was to be named Naruto and be male. He prepared for the possibility that he and his wife would pass away due to issues, and that he would be given his mother's maiden name, Uzumaki, by the responsible party. You mean? Naruto's eyes widened. Quick question. It seems I have family that's alive after all. Said Samus. Was there a man named Jiraiya who stayed? No. I've never seen him. That idiot. Samus said, look, I will stay with you even though I can't go into the mission for which the Federation called me out of retirement. After all, you are a member of my family. How do I know I can trust you? Naruto asked, glancing at her. You don't. Samus said, I thought my brother was dead all this time, but in reality, he wasn't under the jurisdiction of the Federation. I was called in for that reason. Do you know what the various suits are? My dad probably didn't write anything about them. Even my father's name is unknown to me. Naruto looked at the two bound and said, but do you know who these two are? Only that he's dead, and has been since the day I was born. However, they were hiding in a puddle. No, Samus acknowledged. I was able to locate them with ease because of my familiarity with danger and threats. He's unconscious right now because I broke his neck, she said, pointing to one of them. He was working with a man named Zabuza for a midget named Gato, that's all I know. He fainted at that point. Naruto turned to face Kakashi and said, Sensei, do you know anything about these two? The brothers of the demon. Robes at Chunin level. They were collaborating with Zabuza, right? But that's what he said. Samus acknowledged, didn't get a surname. After examining the two, Kakashi turned to face Tazuna and said, Tazuna, this mission just escalated to a B rank. There is more to this mission than you mentioned, and I have the uneasy feeling that Naruto was correct. False information. Naruto nodded when Samus said, most likely. Look, I had no idea that he had hired these people, but Tazuna read the entire story, which Naruto could tell was true despite the fact that it was somewhat of a sob story. Sensei, I think we should go on with this, he sighed. He does have the money for it, and I couldn't pay for anything higher than a C rank. Gato's accounts will be used to cover any expenses he is unable to pay. Samus added, I was thinking on that as well. This Gato has a legitimate business but engages in shady activities. I detest those individuals. Kakashi sighed and said, all right, I'll let it be decided by a vote, after Naruto nodded. Who would like to enter? He looked at Samus and said, you may have been able to handle 2 Chunin level rogues, but I am not sure if you can handle a Junin level. Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto all raised their hands. Well, looks like we're continuing. Where would he be in relation to these two? Kakashi said, probably twice as powerful. These guys weren't much of a challenge compared to Ridley, Samus said, looking thoughtfully. I believe I'm capable. My power suit is at my disposal. I'll be alright. A power suit? Kakashi's eyebrow went up. Samus answered, you wouldn't know about it. He doesn't, however, Naruto said, I believe I know. It's similar to the battle suit you're seeking, isn't it? Samus nodded. I believe it's the same one that expelled Mizuki for betraying his country. Since then, no one has seen it. However, I was present. I witnessed it, and then it walked away. That was nearly 5 weeks ago. It was most likely the first activation they discovered. They kept receiving signals for the next 2 weeks, but since the end of that 2-week period, they haven't received a single signal, Samus acknowledged. Let's move forward, but first, just to make sure he won't wake up, she said, taking her stun pistol and hitting the other one in the neck, breaking it. Normal storage scroll, Naruto said, drawing out a scroll and sealing the 2 of them inside. They've already passed away. Using a cryo storage scroll is pointless. They all kept walking after Samus nodded, and Naruto, who was more vigilant than normal, said, I'll keep these 2 on me so you can get a good start with their bounty. While Sasuke and Sakura remained close to each other so they could work together, Naruto and Samus did the same, and Kakashi was totally on guard. Although Naruto had put on a bit of a show, talking to Samus about the Federation and other things, Kakashi listened to most of the questions, but she didn't fully understand them. She explained each piece of her power suit in great detail, primarily to try to confuse everyone, but Naruto seemed to understand every word, such as missiles and arm cannon beams. The only things Kakashi could make out were the bomb and power bomb abilities, but she only partially understood the gravity suit. They set up camp as the second day of travel was coming to an end. Samus, I have to say that Naruto probably doesn't understand most of what you said, the speaker said. Kakashi arched an eyebrow as Naruto said, actually, Sensei, I understood it all. How? Well, The majority of the explanations reveal some of the information that was used. I'll admit that some skills are self-explanatory. Take the ice beam, for instance. Naruto shrugged and said, I know the programming was meant to confuse people, but only those who knew about the programming side would know about that kind of stuff. If it hits, it freezes the target. What was important were the words in between. The amusing thing is that she says everything she says in order to mislead people while still providing the information that was requested of her. It's similar to giving people too much information to make them confuse. Naruto's hair was ruffled by Samus. Hey, you're perceptive in addition to being intelligent. Whoever was there, it seems like they raised you at least fairly well. Samus understood Naruto's meaning when he looked down. There wasn't anyone, was there? He shook his head a little when she asked, there will be now. She placed a hand on his shoulder and said, because now you've got me. Even though we were separated when we were young, I always remembered your father's appearance. And you appear just as he did in those days. Then Naruto connected the dots. I resemble my dad? That means that, said Samus, nodding. Kira, did you know? Yeah, I knew. Why didn't you speak up? You didn't inquire. I would have told you if you had. Naruto had a drop of perspiration. Talk about your wake-up call. Sasuke and Sakura raised an eyebrow at Naruto, who turned to face Kakashi. Sensei, you mentioned that your sensei was the Yondaime, Naruto said. Would you say that? Yes, you do resemble him, and I did suspect you were his son. As an ANBU, I protected you because I was one of the few who knew he was married, Kakashi said. I would since Jiraiya wouldn't. However, you are on my team more for his benefit than for mine. The council wanted me to ignore you and concentrate on Sasuke, but I wanted you. Naruto noted, and yet you haven't done that. If I did, I would be hypocritical. I really don't need to teach you three anything, anyway. You three can get there if someone just tells you where to go. My job is so much easier because of it. Yes, without exaggeration. The process of training new recruits is difficult. Whatever branch of the military you're in doesn't matter, Samus said. That made Kakashi and Samus laugh. Naruto arched an eyebrow. What? According to Samus, nothing. Haruka probably knows this as well, Kakashi clarified, adding, you'd understand it if you took a team of genin. After all, he had to deal with you. Hey, Naruto yelled. Sakura said, he's got a point there. Naruto shot back, like you could talk. You were a pain because you were louder than me, and that's quite a statement. You realize that he's right? You were the loudest of all of them, Sasuke noted. Even with all of his antics and the chaos he brought about for the community, you were still more annoying than him. Not even you, Sakura complained. Naruto and Sasuke laughed with Sakura soon joining in. Samus looked at Kakashi. Did I miss something? They tease each other and complain before laughing at it, Kakashi acknowledged. This happens from time to time. Since it's all in the past. So, why do you believe you can defeat these men? I'll be alright as long as they don't get the drop on me, based on my experience thus far. How near the client's house are we? Kakashi said, we'll have to take a boat. About a day's worth of travel to Wave Country. A tiny one that won't create a lot of sound. I also doubt you could fit in it with us, said Samus. Samus placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder to get his attention and gave him a small disc, saying, as long as he carries this, I'll be able to find him. You won't have to worry about me. I'll be traveling by underwater. What about the water? It's waterproof, able to go 7,000 leagues underwater and still hold together, said Samus. Naruto placed it in a pocket and said, sweet. At this moment, a yellow X approached him, and Samus's eyes widened. She then pulled out her stun pistol and fired at the X, but it ducked. Naruto was immediately alert. What did you do that for? Those things are hazardous. Are you unaware of that? I am aware of the risk they could present, but they pay attention to me, Naruto said. They don't do anything unless I give them permission to do so. My body has adapted to it over the years, so they can't hurt me. What are you saying? When I was 6 years old, a red one entered my body. 3 days later, I woke up, but I was unharmed. At that moment, my healing factor doubled, increasing from 5 times the normal amount to 10. I've been collecting more of them lately. They're here to help, and I discovered what they can do. Naruto stated sternly. Surprisingly, they're friends. How do you know they are dangerous? Kakashi said, his tone slightly abrasive and cautious. The Federation would do whatever it took to obtain them as a weapon if they discovered they were still alive. I had to get rid of them all because they had done it before. I can't let the Federation find out about this, or they'd be all over this planet trying to grab any of them they can, Samus said sharply, adding, I thought they were all wiped out at that point. If they don't know about them, they won't get them, Naruto said, his eyes hardening. You retired 10 years ago, as you stated. You are not required to inform them of this. The other half of my power suit, Dark Samus, would have been my choice over the X. The X pose a much greater threat. Leave them alone for now, Naruto said, adding, only if provoked. You are aware that they will continue to be helpful if your suit can still be recharged with the X. Neither the Federation nor we will be harmed by what they do not know. In addition, they have become friends with me over the years. After a full 30 seconds of eye contact, Samus raised her stun pistol and said, I don't let others harm my friends. If they harm anyone, then I will get rid of them. Keep that in mind. After that, Naruto focused on the X. So, what did you discover? Am I going crazy? Samus asked, hearing the question and realizing he was speaking to it. Thanks, Naruto said, nodding several times. And I apologize for that. I am aware that you were all afraid of her when she entered. But she says she's my aunt. More squeaks. I don't know. Either way, we'll need to exercise caution. However, this is not good if what you say is accurate. I'd like to send one of you to take Gato's body over. However, I don't believe it would be of any assistance to you guys at this time. How about her, though? If she has an excuse, she will kill us. I understand. However, she needs to understand that you guys can help the right person, Naruto clarified. When did you send that one out? Kakashi asked, turning to face Naruto. I sent one out last night even though I knew Samus was sleeping. I was aware of the danger the X posed in advance and knew she would strike at any moment. Anyway, it was my watch. In order to keep track of the situation in Wave Country, I sent it out. Everyone took notice of what Dazuna said, which was sugar-coated. Gatos nearly drained the entire nation dry. They have no more than 3 months before foreclosures start. It's worse in towns than in slums. Hold on a second. How are they understandable? It's because of the one that I absorbed when I was younger, Naruto said, turning to face Samus. I can converse with them and comprehend what they say. All they really want is to live together. Because they know you killed their brethren, they still fear you. They have the ability to heal me by absorbing themselves into me. Furthermore, I believe it will eventually be passed down as a genetic trait through my children. In addition, I've been learning from the X that entered me all those years ago what he discovered about you after it was surgically removed. It was one of your power suit's original X's. It went out and ended up here. My body adjusted when it found me. I can absorb them without a suit. There won't be any negative consequences if they merge with me. I've tried it out, so I know this. I knew they could assist, so I brought a good number. After the mission is over, we'll discuss it. For the time being. Until they can demonstrate that they only want to assist, don't pursue them. When Samus looked at Naruto, he could see that she was upset, but not at him. Rather, she was upset because she was unaware that he was keeping it from her. Naruto was sleeping with his back to a tree, with his bag in his lap. When they noticed that he was trembling, some of the X left the bag and stopped on his shoulders, his head, and other parts of his body. Samus saw that he stopped shaking when they did, and that he was likely cold. She took a blanket and walked over to him, covering him with it. The X snuggled into it, but did not absorb into the blanket or him. Although she was still suspicious of them, she decided to put her trust in Naruto for the time being. The following day they ended up on a bank of water. Naruto noticed that Samus was wearing her power suit and said, "It looks like mine. So, you're going underwater?" Samus glanced at Naruto and gave him a small nod. "I want to apologize before I leave. I shouldn't have made such a snap judgment about them. Whether or not I trust them, I will trust you." Naruto gave her a suspicious look and said, "All right, but I'll still be watching closely. The fact that you pursued them when they were my friends bothers me. I understand. And for that, I apologize. Sometimes the resurfacing of old memories does that. When I discovered that the Federation had been breeding Metroids after they had forced me to get rid of them all, I experienced the same reaction." When Samus heard the Federation's incoming call, she touched her helmet. "This is Samus. Go ahead. It looks like a bounty hunter is on his way to you, Samus, and we think it's Trace, a bounty hunter." "Trace? Do you mean the demon of Trace the Spider?" Samus drew everyone's attention with his question. "The very one. Trace has just left our territory. I hope you have already located the suit." "I get it. Out. I never thought they'd pick up the trail this quickly," said Samus, cutting off the call. "And it had to be Trace out of all of them." "Well, who is Trace?" "A bounty hunter. He once pursued me. He is a long-range sniper, and it's difficult to tell anything about his primary weapon, the Imperialist. It's a laser with twice the range of a standard sniper rifle. You can follow the path if you have a good enough eye, but you'll be better off leaving him to me if he shows up here. Naruto gave her a look and said, "This imperialist. Is it possible for the X to learn its programming and utilize it in your power suit?" Samus gave Naruto a startled look and asked, "What gives you the impression that they could do that?" "They are entities capable of genetic code replication. What would prevent them from doing so?" After giving it some thought, Samus said, "You think they will?" Naruto asked. A red X appeared. "Are you certain?" "All right," said Naruto. "As long as you don't use it against them, they're in." Samus nodded slightly. "All right. The boat is yours." Naruto nodded. "I'll remain hidden as long as possible and surprise them." A boat appeared, and Tazuna and Team 7 boarded it. Samus stuck beneath them while remaining underwater. A number of yellow X left the bag, and one went to stand in front of Samus. "He's asking for a description," Naruto explained. Samus shared what she remembered of both forms. "That's all I remember from our last encounter. That bridge is this country's last hope. One person wants it gone, and never finished." Naruto thought, "Gato, you were one mean son of a bitch, and have earned a place on my shit list." Everyone was a little in awe of the bridge when they first saw it. "Don't be mad at Samus, Naruto," Kakashi said, observing the hint of anger on Naruto's face. "She clearly..." "It's not that." Naruto interrupted him quietly, saying, "Gato has become a target for me. Look where Mizuki ended up after making my shit list." "Naruto, did you?" Kakashi asked, realizing that Naruto might have killed previously. "Yes, I did. However, I wasn't the one who did it. I am aware of the owner of the suit Samus is searching for, but she won't notice anything until the wearer puts it on. Mizuki was killed when it first appeared that evening. I disappeared for 2 weeks as a result. I discovered as much as I could about it. She's searching for that. I inquired about her power suit for that reason, to determine the suit's potential." Surprised, Kakashi said, "So you did? We should omit that from the mission report. I suspect I'll require it while on this mission. If I need it, I can put it on in a heartbeat. Simply pay attention to my goal." "We'll need to keep quiet for the time being," Naruto said, adding that you'll also learn how I gained some control more quickly. Kakashi acknowledged his correctness and nodded, saying, "So far, we've been fortunate. We'll take the inner route with the mangroves as cover just to be safe," the boatman said. Naruto felt as though they had already been located. Samus also knew that he was not far away. When he looked at the disc she gave him, which glowed a little, he saw the message, "2 people. Watch out. 1 level of Kakashi. Large sword. Sasuke reserves the other 2 times." Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura all felt shivers down their spines as Naruto read it all and nodded slightly before saying 2 words that everyone knew, "They know." They quickly docked, and when Samus appeared on the bank, she was still wearing her suit. Naruto nodded to her, and she nodded back, letting him know they were being watched. Naruto then approached Sakura and said, "Remember the sensory trick I taught you? It will be useful." She gave a small nod. Samus and Naruto both located one of them, and Naruto threw a kunai in the proper direction. She saw that he had moved, so Naruto checked it out, assuming they had moved aside, and discovered a snow hare. "Oh look! A snow hare. It is spring, and its fur is white." Sakura felt the killing intent blasting him, even though it wasn't aimed at her. "I wonder if it's an exotic breed," he thought. "It seems I pissed someone off." Something was rapidly approaching Kakashi and Samus. "Get down," as the killing intent blasting him increased, Naruto said, "Whoever threw that almost hit the cute little bunny." The giant sword struck a tree, and a man stood directly on top of it. "If I were you, kid, I'd drop the rabbit." Everyone hit the ground, with the exception of Naruto, who dodged as it was spinning around. "Why would I act in that way? It's so cute and fluffy," Naruto inquired. "Do you know what righteous female fury is? You'll quickly discover what it is if you don't." "I believe I have," Naruto said, glancing at Sakura. Then Zabuza noticed something about his jumpsuit and said, "Wait. You have something on your arm." Kakashi noticed that his voice sounded strange for a brief moment. "Don't think redirecting my attention will work." Zabuza thought, "That spiral. Uzu. Oshish. T. Uzumaki." Samus and Tazuna were among those who raised their eyebrows in response to this. "What about the fact that I'm an Uzumaki? It's not like it's a disease of some sort," asked Naruto. He opened a sword and threw it at Naruto, who caught it. "That belongs to you," he said. "Let's see if you can actually use it now." Naruto dodged the incoming sword easily. Naruto tossed the sword to Kakashi, who caught it. Hang on to that. Samus, don't stop observing. After avoiding another blow and glowing a little, he was engulfed in a brighter light that almost stopped Zabuza. Her eyes widened when Naruto showed up wearing his power suit, which was identical to Samus's. I'll be honest, I didn't want to pull this out so early, but I know I have no choice in the matter, she said. Without it, I have no chance against you, he declared. You're supposed to use the sword. I haven't received any sword training. How am I supposed to use a weapon that I have no knowledge of? Naruto inquired. Even if you try to take the hair, I will kill you. Zabuza charged again, but Kakashi deflected the blow with the metal plate in his hand, his headband up, exposing a Sharingan eye. I'm the nicer choice in that matter. And you believe I'll allow it? He inquired in a serious tone. Naruto seized the opportunity to shoot a beam into Zabuza's stomach, but he dodged and only struck his leg. What the devil? He shouted, before a beam of light had him grappled. It was Samus, and she had him pinned. He's pinned. Do it now, and hit him hard. A young man wearing a mask appeared as Samus screamed, voice changer on, and 2 senbon pierced his neck. For me, I appreciate you pinning him, they said, it made my job much easier. A Kiri hunter ninja. Yes. But I was supposed to be after him. Despite my advanced age, they seem to believe in my abilities. Kakashi nodded and put his Sharingan away, saying, its secrets must not be revealed. I must be going. The two departed as the wind increased. That ninja hunter. Naruto said, grabbing everyone's attention, she's with Zabuza. Based on what my brother put in his logs, I'd have to agree with you there. Kakashi acknowledged, as would I. We'll see them again. We can be sure of that. The gazes of Samus and Naruto never left each other. Is there a problem? No. Nothing, said Samus. Naruto turned to Tazuna and said, I think we'd be better off going to your place to rest up. We'll talk about this later, Samus. Obviously. It shouldn't be far, Tazuna said, adding that Naruto's suit glowed and vanished before he collapsed to his knees, gasping. That was hard. He passed out and collapsed. Samus disengaged her suit, and picked Naruto up. A few green X came up to him, but stopped in front of Samus, before, somehow, gesturing to Naruto. Kakashi looked at Naruto. Chakra exhaustion. Using his reserves? That must not be feasible. What are you saying? As Kakashi noted, his reserves are far beyond even my own. It also implies that he has much less control over them. For it to do this, his reserves must be severely taxed by maintaining that suit. However, I believe that X wants to assist. After giving the X a cautious nod, Samus carried him in the bridal style and they left for Tazuna's house. The X moved to Naruto's navel and absorbed itself into him. After just 10 minutes of travel, Samus was shown to a guest room where she was to place Naruto, but she remained by his side, and the X that remained were identical. When Sakura and Sasuke tried to question Kakashi in the living room, he would always say, I don't know. Then Sasuke asked another question. How was the suit obtained by him? Kakashi's answer was a little different. I'm not sure. But I'll find out. Although it wasn't exactly how he intended to, he has already revealed the X, and when we get back, I plan to omit that from the report. For what reason did he faint? Chakra exhaustion is the easiest way to explain it. Kakashi said. Some tea should work for when he wakes up. Sakura looked down the hall and said, I don't think that's the problem. I think it's that he used too much chakra for his coils to handle. Long-term use of that suit is not recommended until he gains more control if he truly possesses more chakra than you, sensei. For any Kage, his control must be almost flawless, if not flawless. That or become accustomed to wearing the suit, which isn't a smart idea right now. How about those things that float? You call them X? Inquired Tsunami, a young woman. They are Naruto's friends. However, I'm not even certain of their complete capabilities. You would need to ask him. From the guest room door, Samus said, genetic engineering. The vast majority of beings cannot comprehend genetic engineering because it is too complex. Want to go into more detail? Kakashi inquired. The X were a primitive race that relied solely on taking over the body and mind of any being they absorbed themselves into, Samus said with a sigh as he made his way to the couch. They will attack the threat's nervous system and kill them from the inside out if they believe that person poses a threat. It would be a quick and excruciating process. One could easily perish over the course of 10 days if a foreign organism takes over their entire body. I can speak from experience. Eyes widened at this. Did they target you? It was 10 years ago. Samus explained the entire X incident, including the events leading up to it. For the GBA, see Metroid Fusion. At the end of it all, I had to battle an Omega Metroid before one of the Saw X stepped in and destroyed itself. I absorbed it as it exposed the core that had previously flown off. As I would discover later, the X absorption ability was gone, and I had everything I had with my original power suit. I had been trying to replicate the effect, but I wasn't sure why I was doing it. It was instinct, and I had come to believe in them. One of them made it here and survived, so I'm glad I did. Everyone was stunned by this. And you don't care about those X around him? He somehow possesses the same abilities as the so-called fusion suit. The X itself can be absorbed by his own body. In addition to being a super-charged red X, it is different for him because the fusion suit was able to restore energy or weapons ammunition depending on the X type, with yellow denoting energy, green denoting weapons, and red for both. The core was essentially just a means of regaining an ability I had lost. I would say that red does both, green restores chakra, and yellow heals wounds based on my knowledge, first-hand observations, and what is used here. That's the only thing that comes to mind, though I might not be certain. And it will only be effective for him, whether he has a suit or not. It could be lethal if I'm not wearing my suit, but it would only work for me when I'm wearing it. After considering all of this, Kakashi came up with a plan. Do you think we could use this to get rid of Gato? He has already been placed on Naruto's shit list and is a threat. They will comply if Naruto requests it. As previously stated, the Federation desired them due to their seemingly boundless potential. To a degree never before or since, the majority of their skills are derived from genetic engineering. Now that someone can voluntarily control them, it can be riskier than ever. This planet is literally in Naruto's hands. They would most likely comply with his request to kill if he wanted everyone to do so. A few eyebrows went up when Sakura remarked, "Think of it like a beehive. The queen is in charge of the beehive." For the X, or workers, Naruto would essentially fill that role. Seeing her point, Samus nodded and said, "That seems to be the situation here." So, Naruto could exterminate every person in Konohagakure if he gave them the order? Kakashi inquired, suddenly frightened. Easily. Kakashi sighed. The moment he figures that out, or if he does, and just hasn't, the moment he snaps, Konoha is doomed. What would this be? Asked Samus, raising an eyebrow. Imagine a whole villagia the same when your parents defended a hating and scorning you for a cause that is out of your control. You have no family to guide you. I know this, Kakashi explained. Beatings every other day by drunken villagers, which only get worse on your birthday, until you reach the age of 8, before it started to get less frequent, until the attacks died out, because those who do attack get condemned to prison. Because I was the one who stopped most of the mobs. It was my Anbu squad, and only I and 3 other Anbu would voluntarily do so. Neko, Kuma, and Weasel were their code names. The Uchiha was Weasel. Both Neko and Kuma are now captains. Neko was the only woman among us. Even though we did everything we could for him, I still worry that it was insufficient. Because of the way they treated him, the village is doomed the moment he loses it. He could see the hatred in Samus's eyes as she narrowed them at Kakashi, saying, "I did what I could, but there's only so much we could do." Following the Uchiha massacre, Weasel had departed. He had left. He was still protected by Neko and Kuma, who took turns watching over him and making sure nothing went wrong. Human ignorance has no boundaries, and it all stems from the Civilian Council, which frequently demands Naruto's blood in council sessions and commends Sasuke here. With the exception of the Uchiha clan, the clan heads generally supported him, so there was always a slim majority for it to be a no instead of killing him. Most shinobi wanted him to be treated properly. Because he was born with a gift, the elders wanted to use him as a weapon. The others wanted him dead. The Hokage always wished for a typical upbringing. I was aware from the moment of his birth that his life would never be typical. And he does remain there? Samus asked in a chilly tone. Why he didn't go years ago is beyond me. He might not have known why, or he might not have known where to go. It was decreed that anyone in the village who mentioned his gift would be executed. If the village finds out, I could be in trouble just for saying this now. The day he graduated, he found out about it. Mizuki's death was inevitable once the Anbu reached him because the Sandaime would have ordered it anyhow. In addition, there is the minor issue of his recollections. He was blown off his shoulders with his head. He is unable to recall anything. With his ex, I'm not sure if Naruto can, but he wouldn't want to, in my opinion. However, Samus noted that if he knew who had put him up to it, it would make his shit list. Sasuke continued, or his top shit list. That's even worse. With a sigh, Samus said, "Is there anyone in the village I should be wary of? In general, I would avoid the council, but there is one individual you should be very cautious around, Danzo. He would attempt to take them if he had any knowledge of these X or those suits. He is elderly, dilapidated, and still holds a wooden cane despite having one eye and his right arm bandaged. He's the most dangerous person I've ever encountered in this political environment, Kakashi informed her, that is, if you accompany us. Well, technically I did finish the mission they asked me to do because I located the suit. I don't see any reason to destroy it, so I'm done with that. Furthermore, he needs to be taught how to use it correctly by someone. Who could be more qualified than someone who has actually used it? Samus asked. She pulled out a small rectangular device, which gave off a light vibration and flipped it open, while walking to the hall. Samus here. Samus, Trace landed in Wave Country, as the locals call it, and the target and multiple X were spotted there as well. Adam? Indeed, lady. Oh, that's good. It is impossible to destroy the suit, and I am aware of its location. Is it only a hologram, or is the suit not real? I'm afraid not. It is concealed in a person's soul. To be precise, my nephew. That is an issue. Would you not be able to get rid of him? It won't occur. I'm going to do this my way. To locate the suit was the directive. I never had to bring it back, they said. Don't destroy it unless absolutely required. I don't think it's required. What about the X? Not a threat at the moment, but will not listen to me, Samus said, glancing around. Just my nephew. There is still the threat of Trace. Naruto had dispatched multiple X to attempt to duplicate Trace's signature weapon, the Imperialist, as soon as I learned of his involvement on this planet. We can only hope they survive, but we'll be alert. The X I came across were dangerous and made several attempts to murder me. Although it appears that they listened to Naruto, these X don't seem that way. Your nephew? Correct. I'm going to keep an eye on Trace. Should I message the Federation? I am unable to take the suit to the Federation. Just inform them that it has been located. The proprietor would not consent to it. Do you mean that the person holding the suit has no interest in working with the Federation? Either that or there is no justification for bringing it to the Federation. Additionally, he is ignorant of the rules and laws of the Federation. You also performed the technology scans. He couldn't have arrived there using any of them. I see. This is quite the turnaround from that X incident, which I think you don't want them to know about. Oh, I see. Okay, it's a turnaround. In any case, that mission is over, but I'm not going anywhere. The Federation has no jurisdiction over it. This place doesn't even know they exist, and they don't have the resources to get there, so they can't make him come. I'll take him somewhere else myself and train him there if there's a reason he should escape from here. He can learn how to use the suit from me. It's simple. Not going to be able to convince him. It would be, considering his past with his house. He does, however, possess the hothead and stubbornness of any other way. This guy is a Class 6 protector, if you understand. I know. This will not sit well with the Federation. They can shove it if they don't. I retired 10 years ago. They must keep that in mind. He will not attack anyone in the Federation unless provoked. A death warrant is a situation in which one of his friends is being held captive. It's simple. After a few days, I can confidently state that this is true. I get it. I will inform them that you will not be returning the suit because there is no way to do so and it has no feelings for them, either positively or negatively, and will only pose a threat if they agitate the owner. Do you have any objections, lady? Samus grinned slightly and said, none. Go ahead and tell them. A little laugh was heard, and the call was disconnected. She raised the phone and saw Kakashi staring at her. Class 6 protector? Those above him or in positions of authority are not respected by a Class 6 protector. Seldom complies with instructions. Prefers to carry out tasks in their own manner. It can backfire on the person telling them that their way is incorrect. Can occasionally be an absolute brute, but they are good-hearted. They typically value life and would defend almost anyone in need. They will assist if they can. I resigned because they are too independent for the Federation. The only thing that pushed me in that direction was the X incident. Additionally, I am a Class 6 protector. Many members of the Etherway family exhibit that trait from an early age. In addition, they were obstinate in their beliefs. But there's one more thing that comes to mind when I think about him, Samus said, glancing into the room Naruto was in. He goes above and beyond with people he regards as family and friends. He would probably go to hell just to get a friend back, though I'm not sure to what degree. I'm going to assume that making their shit list is difficult. Very much. Making a Class 6 protector's shit list is typically equivalent to signing a death warrant. Naruto, however, has a worse problem. His list of top shits. Anyone on that list should hope that the god they worship will be kind to them because he won't be. You've essentially described what I've seen of Naruto, as well, Kakashi said, nodding. I continue to believe that he has every right to demolish the village. I would ask you to look after him if he does. Ensure his safety. Something I couldn't accomplish on my own. My life has been incredibly risky thus far. If my past comes back to haunt me, it can only get more dangerous, or worse, him. He has accomplished many impossible things in his life. In his place, would you attempt to disprove everyone? Samus imagined it after blinking a few times. Now that I think about it, most likely, I would. Do you believe that's his true desire? Kakashi acknowledged, I can't say for sure, but I think it is. Several X were ticking near him, but mostly green and red X, so Samus entered the room and sat down on a chair near his bed. Naruto, please recover. The Mindscape Kira, X, and Naruto were seated together when he said, so, she's back. And it looks like she's disappointed. With his head lowered, Naruto uttered, I thought so. She is not disappointed in you, Naruto, X said, shaking his head. She feels let down by herself. She shared her idea with one of the X, who has the full details of what transpired with my kind on her end. Given what she knew, any human would attack in the manner that she did. Was it merely a response? She didn't realize you had already adapted, so she was attempting to protect you even though it wasn't necessary. Kira is probably the only thing you keep hidden from her. Which she should most likely find out about right away. She might turn it against you if she doesn't, though I doubt it. Oh, and Kakashi said the village is, more than likely, doomed the moment you snap. Isn't it because I can get rid of them by sending all the X? Not happening, unless they try to banish me, X said, nodding in response to Naruto's guess. Didn't think it would. Both Kira and Naruto turned to face him and said, but I am curious about a suggestion she made. It's about Gato. Would you have him have an X removed, his memories erased, and his body destroyed? At that, Naruto's eyes grew wide. You know, I might actually do that. With a slight smile, X said, I thought you might like it. So, Naruto said, nodding. There is nothing we can do regarding the chakra coils. The situation will only worsen if I attempt to do anything on my own. It will be around 12 hours before they return to normal. No use of chakras until then. After nodding, Naruto's expression changed to one of contemplation. Hey X. Are you guys able to explain your kind to Samus? I'm interested. You would need to wait to hear her side of the story. It must be voluntary, not coerced. It will not work if she tries to fight it, and she could be killed in the process. You probably don't want that. And if she accepts? By altering her genetic code, we can prevent her from being impacted by us in the future. By doing this, she will be able to speak with us as well. You would need to ask her again. With a sigh, Naruto said, all right, is there anything else I should know? I've been speaking with Kira. Bloodlines are genetic, and that Ninja Hunter had one. By copying the genetic code, we could easily reproduce the bloodline. We won't go out and take bloodlines arbitrarily. I'm not an idiot who craves power. That's the council, Naruto said, and we can if the chance arises. Is it possible to reach the X outside? Yes. Those who are tracking Trace ought to monitor him, locate the Imperialist's data, and duplicate his memories. Kill him from the inside out, not the outside, and only if Gato hires him. That point makes sense to me, but what if he pursues you? The same if Gato hires him. He dies if Tazuna, Samus, or I are his target. Now that is more like it. Based on what we learned about his actions, I'm tempted to go out there and demolish his structures myself. Shaking his head, Naruto said, no. He is not deserving of your death. It might be enjoyable for some people to be killed by you. So why did we do it? Because of what I have in mind for them to do after they get his memories. Kira was a little alarmed by Naruto's devilish grin. All right. This is what I have in mind. At the end of it all, Kira watched in silent wonder while X was rendered speechless. Really? That seems like overkill to me. You believe that we shouldn't? I never claimed to dislike it. Kira explained her plan, and Naruto's smile changed from devilish to bad. Shit sadistic. I'm all for it, but with one little stipulation. Oh, I see. That will work. I am in agreement as well. All right. He was also on my shit list. I have only recently met one of the 3 individuals who have ever made my top shit list. He's on yours, too. Can I sleep in your fur? Naruto replied, we'll get him when the time comes. Naruto snuggled into it after saying, get in here. Outside. After receiving a message, one of the X's that was lying on Naruto moved in front of Samus, who was cautiously observing it, and made a gesture before turning slightly in Naruto's direction. Is he alright? The up dot and down motion appeared to indicate a yes. Is he planning something? It tapped her on the head and she sighed in relief. I don't really understand what you're saying, she said. Your movements are all I can deduce. The green X paused for a second. After that, it moved toward Naruto's mouth, then toward her forehead and not close enough to touch it, but close enough for her to understand it, then toward another, and finally back to her mouth. The only thing that prevented her from recoiling was years of military training. You want to teach me how to talk to you? The X gestured in agreement. As much as I want to say yes, I'm not sure, Samus said, turning to face Naruto. I'd prefer that he say it himself if he wants me to. Furthermore, I would not want my DNA altered. It hurts like hell, according to someone I spoke with on another planet. Over the course of 3 days, he had to repeat this several times. I would prefer that he give me the whole explanation first. After that, I'll make a yes or no decision. Could you at least tell me what's wrong, with some guesses of my own? Asked another after the X gave in. Yes, exhaustion of chakra? That was swaying back and forth. No, chakra burnout? So, he used too much chakra, his coils overheated, in a sense, she said, pausing before nodding. That's just an effect, I suppose. She paused and said, he'll need to work on that. Will he sleep until the chakra coils are fixed? Yes. But if he doesn't have a plan for Gato, then I'll come up with one myself, she said, getting up and walking to the door. I'll let the others know. A red X approached her and settled peacefully over her right shoulder, but I'm not sure if Gato would prefer my plan or his. When Naruto awoke, Sasuke was leaning against the wall and he was in a bed. 12 hours, he questioned. Naruto said, shut it, but there was no emotion in his voice. Samus said something about the X making her an offer. She didn't explain it, but she wants to talk to you before she accepts it. Naruto's eyebrow went up. Is she awake? Sasuke gave a headshake. She was up late last night, before I stepped in and told her to get some shut-eye, and that I'd watch over you myself. That was 4 hours ago. Naruto let out a sigh. Where is she? As soon as Sasuke left the room, Samus rushed through the door with a worried look on her face. Hang on, I'll let the others know you're awake. I'll try letting Samus know, but I doubt she'll wake up. Behind her, Sakura, Sasuke, Kakashi, and Tazuna came into the room. Naruto, It's okay. I was in my Mindscape. I knew what was going on. And about that offer from the X. Her pupils widened. She didn't believe he was fully aware of it, but she was going to discuss it with him. It was my idea in the first place. If you're going to understand someone, see through their eyes. Whether you agree or not is your choice. That's what I was thinking when I asked about it. It's possible. She inquired, and the DNA? I'm not sure. It would probably be best to figure out if it's compatible first. If not, then it might have to be changed slightly. Not enough to alter your appearance, just enough to get what is needed for it. He then noticed the red X that was on her shoulder. You've been doing that already, haven't you? Yeah, I knew you'd need the information. I was just getting it. There isn't much changing needing to be done. Just one of has to go into her without her suit. As long as there is no intention to harm, she will not be harmed. Along with that, the absorption ability will work in both states. Her suit will also gain the same storage abilities as yours does. No physical storage needed. Naruto's eyebrow went up. That's quite a bit. I only suggested the language, not all of that. Well, it's compatible with her genetics. Should be a simple matter. She'll be unconscious for about 5 hours while her body adapts, but other than that, she should be fine. Naruto then shared the information. The others, including Samus, were taken aback. As Naruto looked at Sakura, he said, hold on. If you can do this for her, why not do it for us? Because she already has a suit, and that suit also has the ability to restore her abilities with the X. It's merely transferring the abilities to her normal state, without the suit. It is dependent on the person. We'd have to know if your genetics were compatible before I even bothered to try. You could die, if we're not careful. Naruto clarified, and Sakura began to shrink. Naruto turned to face Samus and asked, is it worth it? Is it worth seeing it from their side? I'd say yes. I doubt you could produce X abilities like I can, but this much is a fact. It happened to me by pure accident. I was just at the right place at the right time. Recreating that effect is what we're trying to do. You up for it? What about Trace? I've got plans for him if he goes after you, me, or Tazuna. At that moment, a yellow X appeared through a window. Good, you're awake. I got the order, and the transfers are already done. Gato won't remember any of it. And the other points? 4 are following Trace. They aren't attacking, but he found his way to Gato's hideout. He promised pay, but Trace turned it down. It's official. He's after you. Naruto's face became icy. More specifically, your suit. He knows the suit is here. And a few others probably also know. It's funny, though. He didn't know what it looks like. But Zabuza told him what was seen. He was not happy. He wants Samus dead, and he's going after you for your suit. Did you get the data? Already done. Memories as well. Naruto gave a nod. He gave Samus a look. Her expression changed from shock to rage when she heard, Trace is after both of us. Termination? When she said that, Naruto turned to the X and grinned. Once all data is extracted, including possible others that know, kill him in front of Gato. Then do the same to the greedy bastard Gato. Make him explode after several convulsions, and rapid multiplication. The X took off. Everyone's eyes were on Naruto. A young boy said, "You're crazy. You truly believe they could accomplish that? No one can." Naruto turned to Kakashi and said, "Gato and Trace will be dead in 2 hours. There will be no reason to fear that coward anymore. By the way, we already got our pay transferred. 500,000 to each of our accounts enough?" Kakashi asked, "That's twice the payment of an A rank, and how did you?" "Gato paid us handsomely. And now he's going to die. The rest of the money he had was sent via mail to those in the villages, in disguise as eviction notices. Everyone will fear them, and his men won't question them. That is, until they are opened, and they find checks and their own deeds back in their own hands," Naruto said with a slight grin. "Gato would never do that. He's too cruel." Naruto smiled. "And that's why I had one of the X to make him do so and then forget he ever did it." He glanced at Samus. She nodded and asked, "Are you ready?" After the red X entered her navel, Sakura touched her forehead with a green substance, knocking her unconscious. Naruto gave her a look. "Did you have to do that?" "You said it would be easier if she didn't fight it. I just made it so she couldn't." A core. X was spotted floating outside after Naruto said, "It's a mental fight that I'm worried about." He walked over to the window and threw it open. "What are you doing?" "I got the data from the Imperialist. Trace is blissfully unaware of our abilities. I transformed into a core. X after I was far enough away from the source. I immediately came back here. 3 others went into him when I left." Naruto gave a nod. "Can you replicate the data you have?" "It will take some time, but yes." "Why?" "Because we're gonna need to download the Imperialist data in 2 suits." Naruto laughed. "Oh, shall I head back home until I can do so?" "Please do. And make sure no one knows you are there." Naruto nodded, and the core X departed, saying, "Understood. I'll be there waiting in the main room." Kakashi asked, "What kind of X was that?" Naruto said, "That, my friends, was a core X. I may not be sure if the X will be more of a bloodline, or if it just rests with me, but I really hope it's the latter." "Why?" inquired Sakura. "CRA. All eyes turned to Sasuke, except for Samus. "You don't want the CRA, do you?" "I don't believe in polygamy. It's not right in my opinion. Even if I probably deserve it with my childhood, I don't want something like that. It's demeaning, and only for those who are power-hungry bastards. It might pass down, but I am not sure. I'm not even sure if Samus will have it passed down, either." X was thinking. "It's not tied into your genes. That much is certain. However, it is tied with your soul. It might pass down. Only time will tell." Naruto gave a mental nod. "Anyway, let's get to work. Gato's gonna be dead soon, and everything he owns personally now belongs to me. Meaning, all his mercenaries are mine. Zabuza and his apprentice work for me, as well." He clarified the situation. "The fake hunter Nin." He went on after they nodded. "Any slaves he had are also mine, and I have to go there to set them free. Those who are broken may follow me back, because there is no other reason to. After that, I'm giving Gato's company to Tsunami and renaming it." Kakashi asked, "How did you already get everything he owns?" "It was after everything was transferred. He wrote up a will. Everything in his name becomes mine. 60% of his funds are going to the towns in Wave Country. Not even 1% was used to pay us. His properties are mine, and all stocks to Gato shipping and production are mine. 20% of his funds are going into research and development. What do you plan on developing? More efficient water-based traveling, and the beginnings of aerial travel. It'll take a while, though, I'll admit. Along with an energy source that is much more efficient here. The rest was going to me, including all staff and mercenaries. Upon his death, even Zabuza and his apprentice are essentially mine to control." So, in a few hours, you'll be heading out there to get everything that is yours? Asked Sasuke. Naruto gave a nod. Good. Think you can get them to train us? Naruto just grinned. That was the plan. Zabuza would be teaching me to use a sword, and then free to go. You and Sakura would also learn from his apprentice. Sakura would need the help of an experienced medic, and it turns out she is. Sakura noted, I'm not an experienced medic. The reply from Naruto was, his apprentice is. Zabuza will have to teach me kenjutsu. I'll be talking to him about that. At that, everyone nodded. He must have known how to wield the sword if he had gotten it from Zabuza. What makes you so sure that Gato will die from this? For all you know, they could leave him alone, the child yelled. Naruto let out a sigh. He thumbed at the unconscious bounty hunter and said, they listened to me. I told them what I wanted. They'll did, especially since I'm the only one keeping them alive. If it weren't for me, Samus here would have killed them already. The only reason she hasn't is because I want them alive to help out. Their fate is in my hands. She and I are the only ones that know how to eliminate them. Everyone else was taken aback by this. If they, for some reason, turned against me, then I would have to know how to get rid of those that want to get rid of me. They may listen now, but that's only because I was the only one that could understand them. If someone else finds out about what they could do, then they'll go after them. As a friend, not their leader, I won't let anything happen to them if I can help it. A red X entered the space. What's up? Gato is dead. Trace is injured, but we couldn't kill him. He'll be fine after 4 days, at least. You'll have to take him out soon. We no longer can. Damn. To think that Trace has already gained a resistance. I guess that's why they call him the Spider Demon. He adapts too quickly, said Naruto. Kakashi asked, what do you mean? This Trace guy isn't dead? Naruto gave a headshake. Samus has the majority of the information on him. Until she wakes up, we'll have to get Sasuke his Sharingan. Gato is already dead, and his will distributed. I'll go and get what's mine, and go from there. When Samus wakes up, tell her to try and contact my suit. It's obvious she has the processor core number, she can contact me. Without my suit, she can actually contact me through telepathy. By contacting my suit with her own, she can talk to me wherever I am. I'll give her my progress then. Hers will run off of her physical energy after her energy tanks run out. It'll be much more linked to her central nervous system than before. After the energy tanks are depleted, any damage to the suit will actually damage her physically. It won't shut down after that. The energy tanks are, quite literally, shield generators, and no longer have any bearing on how the suit operates. It's also impossible to sleep with it out. Make sure you tell her that. She nodded. Anyway, I'm out. I'm not sure if he knows who has the suit, or how it works, but he knows what it can do. He just doesn't know what I can do. Everybody gave a nod. Naruto leapt out the open window and dashed to Gato's main base in the nearby forest. Half an hour later, when Samus opened his eyes, Sakura was there. Where is my nephew? She answered, he went out to claim what became his. He also gave us a message to give to you. Sakura reiterated the message after Samus nodded. I see. That's good to know, actually. The energy tank remodeling should actually come in handy. Oddly enough, I understood more than what Kakashi Sensei understood. Acknowledged Sakura. That's why they're watching over Tazuna and the bridge, while I wait for you. And about Trace. I should have seen that one coming. Trace was known as the Spider Demon for a reason. I just didn't know what that reason was. Now, I think I do. Said Samus. And you're right, I should contact him. With Naruto. When Naruto arrived at Gato Industries' main research labs, a few individuals wearing lab coats were reviewing everything that was there. You are the new owner, but I don't think you could understand this. There was silence for a few seconds, then he spoke. Naruto turned to face the leader and asked, are you going for short or long range? You mean, you already know what this is for? He responded. Naruto turned back to the screen after saying, of course. Missile launching systems. Sadly, missiles using this system are only good for 10 yards out, unless you're going line of sight. The leader asked, how did you come to that conclusion? The programming alone can tell a lot about a system, but only to those familiar with the complexity. Fuinjutsu is about twice as complex, and 50 times as dangerous if something goes wrong. Naruto made the point. Anyway, you got a map of the area? Along with every other base? With a nod, the man indicated a table. It's a parchment map of Wave Country. All of Gato's old bases are there. I'm surprised you weren't told about this yet. Did he really choose you as his successor? Naruto approached the table. He unfolded the map and studied it carefully before saying, "There's a reason he chose to leave all of his assets to me. The biggest reason is Trace. He's a spider demon, and wasn't sure how Trace could kill him. I know. What's more is, the first thing I'm gonna do is make sure he goes down. I'll need to know every point in every base Gato has. It's unknown if Trace is really the one that killed Gato, but he mentioned me by name. That's why I asked for a map." The man gave a nod. "I'll send you some suggestions for the missile launching systems once Trace is taken care of. You can't count me out just yet. I'm a shinobi as well. I can handle most of what he can throw at me." He then walked away. He then left the room entirely before using the shunshin to reach another location. "I've got other things to do right now, such as finding out where Trace is currently hiding, and letting the one person to ever defeat him know. He's a dead demon once Samus gets to him." Wave Country, Warehouse 19. Seemingly in the middle of the forest, Naruto emerged in front of a warehouse. He heard a voice just as he was ready to go inside. Samus said, "Naruto, do you copy?" He prepared a reply in his mind. "Samus, I hear you. Looks like you're awake at last." "Yeah, I am. Why didn't you eat breakfast? Chakra overburn is like a power surge. It's not like chakra exhaustion, which is more like a fuel tank being near empty. Besides, I got a few things from Gato's men. They already know that I've got everything in my name, now. Zabuza and his apprentice, who I now know as Haku, are on their way to the house. They work for me, and for the time being, they're guarding Tezuna's family." Naruto stated to her, "I've got plenty of chakra to use right now, and no, my suit is not active." "I see. Now, what about the mercs?" "Not a problem. I laid off 80% of them. The rest merely guard the scientists, which I had just found out were working on a missile launching system. Severely underdone, but it's what they had. All things considered, they were far beyond what this planet has to offer." "Trace? Not sure of his location. The X are currently searching for him." "I know that. I was already told they were. You mean it worked alright?" "Yeah, it did. I can understand them, and I can see why things are going like they did. Someone has to teach you how to use your suit. My suit training will have to wait until Trace is dead. We've got 4 days, at most. That's why I want you on call, and ready to go when Trace is found. You're the only one that I can trust with this at the moment. There's no jutsu to my knowledge that can reach as far as the Imperialist." "I figured that much. I know how to counter the Imperialist, but I can't use it because I don't have the programming for it. Programming is in Konohagakure at the moment. Anyway, I'm about to check up on all of the slaves Gato had in his possession. If I get pissed at their living conditions, you might feel a draft. And I'm currently about 40 miles away from Tezuna's place." "You mean to say you could make a wind go that far?" "I'm saying, you might see a tornado. Or a hurricane. One of the two," replied Naruto. "Anyway, I'll talk to you later." "Alright. I'll let them know. Sakura is currently here with me. Kakashi and Sasuke are with Tezuna at the bridge. I'll let Sakura know that Zabuza is under your command. Samus out." Naruto out. Naruto then turned to face the door and entered, discovering numerous women bound in shoddy attire. Many of them appeared damaged and afraid of him. He went to the closest one and took her shackles off. "Are you okay, miss?" He almost lost his temper when the girl gave him a look. "What is your desire?" she inquired in a deadpan tone. "What is your name?" Naruto inquired, attempting to control his temper. The tone she used was deadpan. "You wish to know my name?" she asked. He whispered, "They broke your will, didn't they?" She didn't answer. "Yes or no, did they break your will?" In that same lifeless voice, she said, "Yes. I do as I am told. As do all of us. We belong to Gato. We do as he wants. We are his playthings. If he wishes, we kill ourselves." She shook her head, asking, "Is anyone here not broken of their will? Does anyone have family left? Another?" "No, Gato had killed all of their family and friends, didn't he?" A smile. He employed a voice projection jutsu and turned the others. "Gato has left everything of his to me. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Gato is dead. As of this point, you are to follow my orders, and my orders alone, unless I myself say otherwise, in person. If someone claims to be me, tell them to upgrade themselves. If they are not covered in this armor." He activated his own armor. He removed the suit and said, "Then you are not to listen to them. I am your new master. Anyone that had family left, speak up." 5 shadow clones were released by Naruto after a few of them responded. The eyes of the first one he saw were dead, and they all had them. "I'll pay for transport as to where you came from. You'll be going back to your family. Everyone in here is no longer on the market. All of you will be returned to your family. Let them know that you have been freed, and the one that took you from your families happens to be dead. His replacement is sending you back to your families. Make sure they know what happened to each of you. I claim no responsibility for what Gato has done, and neither does Gato Corporation. There was a glimmer of life in each of their eyes as he looked at them. He was able to make them a little happy. If you're from the mainland, head to Port 3. If you're from one of the sea countries, head to Port 5. Gato Shipping is going to bring you home after the last owner had died. These are the orders from the new president and CEO of Gato Shipping and Transport. Understand? Everyone nodded. They all followed the shadow clones out, saying, 4 shadow clones will escort you to where you are to go. Get moving. The others were released and brought forward by the remaining individuals. 2 hands went up in response to the question. Anyone left have someone that can help you regain yourselves? Where are they? One of them remarked, I heard mine was in Bird Country. Her name is Toki. Naruto gave a nod. Port 3, and you? He is in Konohagakure. Last I checked, he went to become a shinobi. I was a kunoichi there years ago, as well. The girl's hair was unkempt and brown. She had little rectangle-shaped markings on her cheeks that Naruto had just noticed. How did I overlook those? Naruto's eyebrow went up. What's his name? I may know him. Kakashi. Kakashi Hitaki. Out of everything I do remember of that time, that's all there is. I don't remember anything else. I don't even remember what my skills were. Naruto gave her a blank stare. She said, come here for a second. He looked for anything that looked like a seal on the back of her head after she said, turn around. I need to check something. He quickly located it, but her hair obscured most of it. He swiftly produced a kunai and used it to carefully trim the hair, exposing the remaining portion. He started to analyze it and in 3 seconds figured out what it was. A seal that blocks memory. It is extremely high level. You got anything on this, Kira? Naruto nodded in his head. Yeah, I do. A class 7 reverse should do the trick. She questioned, is something wrong? He received a nod when he asked, do you remember your name? What is it? Rin. Rin is my name. I don't remember my surname, if I have any, she responded. Naruto gave a nod. Rin, I'm going to attempt to remove this seal on you. It's a memory block seal. It's extremely high level Fuinjutsu. I had just gotten to that level myself, so I can remove it. I still have a long way to go before I can be called a master, so you know. This may cause a massive headache, or cause you to fall unconscious. She questioned, why does this sound so familiar? I don't know, but this seal has to be removed if you are to recover it all. Naruto stated to her. She nodded and asked, do you understand? His slap of the seal sent her forward, directly into her face. Alright. Here goes. 8-star reverse. Class 7, he said. She let out a moan on the floor. She glanced at Naruto and said, my head. Huh? Sensei. But wait, you aren't my sensei, you're. Naruto declared, Gato's replacement as CEO and president. He tapped his headband, making her look, and she nodded. What happened to you, and how do you know Kakashi? This I have to know. My name is Rin. I was on a mission to Kumogakure for diplomacy. Kakashi was on my team during the Third War, along with the black sheep of the Uchiha clan, Obito Uchiha. Obito died in a rockslide, if you must know, and gave Kakashi one of his Sharingan, since he had just activated it. It's in Kakashi's left eye. I myself did the transplant. Last I heard, Kakashi was trying to get away from Kumo.Ninja, and I held back to buy him time. He had the information. I took them out and fell unconscious due to chakra exhaustion. Woke up here, and I couldn't remember anything. That was 8 years ago. The only thing that kept me from being broken completely is an image of Kakashi in my mind the moment I was about to give up. She was thrown a kunai by Naruto. She caught it. You may want this. If I were you, I'd ask around for Tazuna's place. When you get there, ask for Tsunami or Samus Aran. And tell them that you're looking for Kakashi of Team 7. Team 7 has been disbanded ever since the Third War. Kakashi and I were the last 2 members. A lot changes in 8 years. I'm a part of Team 7. Kakashi happens to be my sensei. Recently found out his sensei was my father, Minato Namikaze. Well, that explains why you talking about the seal they put on me sounded familiar. Our sensei was a seal master, after all. How far are you? Just got to class 7, myself. Memory block seals are usually a class 5 or 6. That one was far more advanced than usual. Someone made it specifically to make it seem as if it did something else. If not for the fact that I picked it apart piece by piece, I wouldn't have made the connection. And sorry about making fall on your face. It's alright. The worst I got is a headache, and that was from the fall, Rin said. Her eyes hardened. Just know that if you don't warn me next time, she said, I'll castrate you. Samus is my aunt, and I just recently met up with her father's side, and be careful not to piss her off. If you tell her that Naruto sent you, she should be at least somewhat friendly. Before you go, do you know what Kakashi Sensei's face looks like under the mask? I swear, he never takes the damn thing off. Did you know that there's a 100,000 Ryu reward for a picture of Kakashi's full face? Replied Rin. There is? Inquired Naruto. Why didn't I hear of it? Not widely known. I've seen it, but I wasn't able to get a picture. Believe me when I say. I made my own mark there. He knows it, too. The reason he has it now is to hide the mark one made, which can't be removed unless I remove it. What rank were you? Why don't you ask him? He doesn't talk much about his past. Sadly, what I knew is that the Sharingan is not his, but he has a nasty habit of being 2 or 3 hours late on the dot. Not a second earlier or later for either one. She gave a headshake. Naruto nodded and turned his head toward the door, still taking Obito's habits. I'll set him straight. Don't you worry about that. The nearest town is about 10 miles out. If you want to help out, make sure Tsunami knows about you first. After giving a nod, she left. Then he looked at the others. He tallied them all. 40. 3 of them remain. What should we do with them, in your opinion? Kira said, turn them into a harem for you. When did you turn into a pervert? Naruto inquired. Kid, there is no one that isn't a pervert. Even you have hints of perversion. Active perverts, like Kakashi, have no trouble admitting it. You don't like perverts, because they demean females. At this point, these girls have nothing to live for, and their will is shattered. By being around you, you could help rebuild their minds, and make them better than before. The harem idea will just help you out in that department. That idea bothers me. Have you got another one? Sorry kid. That's the only one that's feasible. They're all broken emotionally and mentally. Someone has to help them rebuild themselves. You can do so through this harem. If you want them to be a lot more decent, you'll have to get measurements. I can help with that, but I'll have to be in control, as I know exactly what to look for. Naruto gave a mental nod. The existing clothes must be removed. I have no issues with it as long as it doesn't reveal anything inappropriate, such as cleavage or any of their modest parts being exposed. Kira sent a mental picture of the clothes and asked, how about this? That will work, Naruto said. All right, listen up, because I'm about to take some measurements. Some new clothes will be given to you. They all nodded and began stripping. Naruto closed his eyes, which then opened as red with black slits. Kira, I'm leaving the measurements to you. Make sure you have everything you need from all of them. One false move, and I'll send you back. Don't think that I didn't expect you to say that. I'm not going to hurt them. Kira answered, it's not worth the consequences. They need help, and they will only listen to you because I have your body. I'm done with the measurements, and have the entire thing drawn up, with the order right next to it, Kira said, taking careful notes as Naruto and X observed her take measurements. Kira also made the designs next to the measurements. I got it. We're not going back just yet. There is only one person I know who could complete this order in 2 hours. But to get there, I'll need to use your chakra. You've got enough, but it won't be completed if I don't speak with him. In any case, pay close attention because I intend to teach you this one day. You mean you're knowledgeable about jutsu but haven't taught me? I'll discuss it later. We need to get them new uniforms for the time being. 20 minutes later, with Tsunami. When the door knocked while Tsunami was washing the dishes, Samus, wearing her power suit, went to answer it and said, Zabuza. Uzumaki. You're referring to my nephew. He has already told me about this situation. When Trace was in front of you, you must describe what you witnessed. You're referring to that red dot and green man who didn't even appear human? Zabuza asked, still being supported by his apprentice. Samus showed a hologram over her arm cannon. Did he look like this? Just like that. He claimed to be looking for a suit. I take it to be yours? My nephew's suit in my life. I've already embarrassed him 3 times. He fights at a long range. When he pursues his targets, no one else has come near enough to hurt him. Come on in, and don't destroy anything, Samus said, pointing out that I was the only target he had failed to kill. Well, everything that Gato owned is totally under the Uzumaki's control. That's the last I saw of him, but he checked the R&D department, Zabuza said in a somewhat raspy voice. Zabuza. Sama, you shouldn't talk too much. Follow me, you too. I believe you ought to be aware of something. Gato had a kunoichi in his slave ring, I discovered. I don't know where they're from, but it's a sensory thing. As she led Zabuza and Haku to a room and placed Zabuza on the bed, while a few green X entered the room, Samus said, "Good to know." "Yes, I'm fine." She produced a disc and asked, "Can you take this to Kakashi? Please tell him to press the button. It will transmit my message." "Isn't that because he doesn't understand me?" "Yes. That's the sole explanation. I'm beginning to realize Naruto's intentions toward you all. He asserts that he is not our leader. To be honest, we consider him to be our leader. We start by listening to him. Even though you're his aunt, we'll follow him over you if he says something that contradicts your views. Keep that in mind." As the X flew out toward the bridge, Samus answered, "I'm aware." She then received a message. "Naruto, what's up?" "I just figured something out, Samus. Tell Kakashi that I'm allowing him to be honest with you about the Kyuubi. However, be aware that I am not the female Kyuubi. She is currently assisting with the remaining slaves and goes by Kira. Someone must assist in rebuilding their wills from the ground up because they are broken. I will be away for some time. I'll let you handle Trace. Is Zabuza here yet?" "He has, indeed. He is still hurt. I'm not shocked. It is difficult to temporarily shut down the heart. In any case, I discovered that Gato's slave ring contained a kunoichi from Konohagakure. She knows Kakashi Sensei, but her memories were erased. I told her to look for you or Tsunami. Rin is her name. She ought to arrive shortly. She is a teammate of Kakashi. Inform her that you are aware of the mark she left on Kakashi's face." "Are you serious?" "I'm assuming a cheat, but she never told me where. In any case, don't reveal to Kakashi Sensei that the Kyuubi's true name is Kira or what she is doing. For the slaves who have nowhere to go and no one to rely on, Kira is currently using my body to complete an order. I'll send a shadow clone for an update when I return. When they locate Trace, the X will notify you. Keep in mind that I wouldn't trust anyone else to take him out except you." "I am aware of that. I appreciate the information. Additionally, if at all possible, provide the long-range missile programming to R&D. In order to utilize it later, I'll be giving them the programming for the missile, super missile, ice missile, and diffusion missile and having an X download it. Alpha X already has the data and programming needed for them. Unfortunately, I don't have the missile function on my suit." "All right. Is there anything else?" "Nothing else at the time." "All right. Samus out." The call was disconnected. 2 days later, looking over her shoulder, Samus discovered that she was standing in front of a cave with 3 green and 6 yellow X's behind her. "Are you guys prepared for this? Are we eliminating a danger to Naruto? If he is not stopped, it poses a threat to all people on the planet. Although he is the primary target, Naruto is merely one of them. To reach his goal, he will use anyone and anything," Samus retorted. "As long as Naruto is safe, all else doesn't matter to us." Samus forced himself not to sigh. Trace would be pursuing Naruto because his primary target is Naruto's suit. "He trusted me, and now I want to help him. Support is the only thing you can do because he has already developed immunity to the X infection." "All right. We're prepared." She was prepared to fire a diffusion missile the first chance she got, so she nodded and went in with the X in tow. She caught him in his alt form, and he was sleeping, so she launched the missile at him, waking him up. He didn't escape the blast radius in time, so she launched another missile, which completely frozen him. She then launched a series of missiles, including an ice missile, until he finally fell to the ground. She grabbed him and dragged the corpse to her. There was a slight twitch one leg, so she launched a missile to blow it off, causing Trace to scream. "You're being a lot harsher than I was told. He put my family in danger. I am the only surviving member of my family. I refuse to give him any leverage. There is a chance that Naruto will perish if he lives." Samus retorted, "If it means I have to be brutal, then so be it. I'm not taking that chance." There was no screech this time, but Trace twitched once more, and another missile blew off the limb. "As I mentioned, I'm not taking any chances." The remainder of the body then vanished into a dark green dust. "That indicates that either Trace is dead or that wasn't Trace," the speaker said. "Not this time." Another twitch, another missile. "The former is what I'm really hoping for. Let's go back." After 2 hours of following Samus back to Dazuna's place, where Zabuza, Haku, and Rin were, the X turned to face Kakashi, who was chatting with Naruto in front of the house. "Hey, is he gone?" Trace turned to dust. "I wasn't going to let him get you," Samus said. "Even the X thought it was excessive when I froze him." "Naruto, it was." She used a missile to blow off the limb with the smallest twitch. Whistling, Naruto said, "Don't go overboard." "That's correct, that was most likely the outcome of female rage." Samus nodded. Zabuza is teaching a blood clone everything he can about Kenjutsu, and Trace is finished. Here is my report thus far. The reconditioning is proceeding much more smoothly than I anticipated. Since most of them have been successful in obtaining information, I have made the decision to utilize them and give them some instruction on information gathering before distributing them. "And the others?" said Samus, nodding. With a slight flush, Naruto said, "Very little. Clingy. They don't want to sell themselves to anyone else, even though they're the only ones learning. This morning. If you understand what I mean, they woke up limping." "You didn't, not my decision, I simply didn't resist them. But I probably ought to have." Naruto shot back, "They're all fine, but they want to follow me. If nothing else, I have a ton of stamina. Even though I wish it hadn't happened, they helped a lot of people feel less stressed last night. They all agreed that there are only 5 of them. They were somewhat relieved because it gave their eyes a little more vitality. I'll help them if that's what it takes. Although I dislike the actions, they have so far produced the intended result. When will the bridge be completed?" According to Kakashi, Rin has started teaching both Sakura and Haku medical ninjutsu. Tazuna is saying a week. I also heard something from Zabuza. We're returning with Haku. She will return with Sasuke. Last night, Zabuza and I managed to catch them sharing a bed. I took a photo with the intention of using it as blackmail later. I have an agreement with Zabuza. Haku gives you his sword and joins us. He is released in exchange. How about Haku? She'll want to accompany him, Naruto said. Taking out a scroll, Kakashi said, "When she returns, I'll show her this. Personally signed by Zabuza. I also signed it because Sasuke is an orphan." Kakashi grinned and said, "And Rin is already aware of it, as she was the witness. They're already engaged." Whistling, Naruto said, "Good work. In any case, I'll be doing everything in my power to assist those who remain. Are you happy that I located Rin?" "Oh, I see. She's from my past, and I'm still working on getting back in touch with her. Too much has occurred. And she has already given me 8 head injuries. Over the past 8 years, I've done some foolish things." Naruto gave a small laugh. "All right. I'm leaving. I advise you to rest and unwind, Aunt Samus." He poofed out, saying, "Believe me, you'll want to relieve any stress you have before we get back to the village." To assist Tsunami, Samus got out of her suit and went inside the house. 1 week later, at the bridge completed the previous day, Naruto stood in front of Wave Country and said, "People of Wave. You can call me Naruto Uzumaki. Currently, I am in charge of the former Gato Corporation. Most of you had received checks and messages purporting to be eviction notices. I apologize for the deceit, but it was merely to inform everyone that Gato had passed away and that I had taken his place. In addition to helping some of Gato's former slaves find employment, I have assisted in rebuilding the orphanage. A few of them have already departed. Others returned with an armed escort to their friends or family. There are only 6 people left in Wave Country, and one of them is leaving today because she was a kunoichi who was believed to be dead in Konohagakure and had her mind erased. You're probably wondering why I'm saying this now. The reason is that I will no longer be in charge of Gato Shipping, which has changed its name," she said, somewhat bashfully. "Tsunami, daughter of Tazuna, please step forward. I'm giving you control of the new company, Tsunami. Inari is going to inherit your father's position as the new daimyo. You get to choose the company's new name. I'm confident you'll take the required action. Gato Shipping and Transport will now be known as Etherway Corporation in remembrance of those who rescued us from oppression. After discussing the next point, my father and I have chosen to name the bridge after the person who killed Gato. The Great Naruto Bridge will be the name of this bridge." For that, she received a round of applause, and Naruto simply gave her a crazy look. "Are you joking with me?" "No, Naruto. I'm not. You killed Gato, and it was because of you that the bridge was completed. This nation's optimism increased as a result of those 2 incidents. We're doing this for you because we appreciate everything you have done for us. Additionally, we will annually send you 10% of Etherway Corporation's profits. If you ever want to visit Naruto Uzumaki, the hero of Wave, you will be greeted with open arms," Tsunami said, adding that Wave Country would always welcome you within its boundaries. Hero of Wave, huh? I had assistants, Naruto thought, turning to his teammates Rin and Samus. Catchy, but I can't take all the credit. Without my team, I couldn't have accomplished all of this. I am more than just a shinobi. I am an ex-warrior. I've said what I have to, he said, leaping off the stage and stopping in front of Rin, Haku, Samus, and his team. If I am ever exiled, then I will come here, whether to visit or stay, I will say at the time. Are you all set? Guard of honor. With their swords raised in the air, 2 lines of samurai formed as Tsunami yelled, "Everyone, have a safe journey home. Just keep in mind that you are welcome to stop by and see us." They all proceeded to walk down the bridge after Naruto gave them a thumbs up. They arrived at Konohagakure's gates after 3 days. The guards turned to face them as they did so. Team 7 returning from the escort mission in Wave. "We're happy to see you again, Kakashi." The council and the Hokage were a little alarmed by the report that was submitted through Naruto Uzumaki. "Who are the others?" said one of the guards. "Rin. Kunoichi of this village in the past. It seems that I was presumed dead a few years ago, and I had no recollection of my time in the village because Fuinjutsu had wiped my mind." Rin responded in her previous attire. "I would be presenting my case to the Hokage and requesting reinstatement. I am Haku Momochi, adopted daughter of Zabuza Momochi, and," she cracked a smile, "fiancé to Sasuke Uchiha." "I'll explain your situation to the Hokage," Sasuke said, placing a hand on her shoulder. Haku appeared to relax, which confused the gate guards a little. "Don't worry. Samus Aran is my name. I'm only here to discuss my only surviving family with the current Hokage. I'll tell him everything. I'm not a shinobi. I'm a bounty hunter. I'm here because I happened to stumble upon my brother's property by accident and discovered that he had a son." One of the guards said, "Perhaps we could tell you where your brother is." "He's right here, after all," she said, placing a hand on Naruto's head. "Sorry, but I already found my nephew. He possesses all the abilities of an Etherway. He is the son of my brother. All I need to know is why, when I discovered him, he was unaware of his father." "Are you Naruto's aunt, then?" one of them inquired, looking a little alarmed. Samus apparently noticed. "What scared you so much about him?" With a swift shake of his head, the guard said, Nothing, absolutely nothing." "Hold on. I hit you with the chicken board prank, didn't I?" "Hold on, did you say chicken board just now? As in, chicken suit, skateboard, passing through the town square?" Samus inquired. "That board for chickens?" Naruto smiled and said, "The very same. I should probably tell you of my pranks all this time. Go to the tower of the Hokage. You must see the Hokage, Kakashi, and explain to him why you kept using what you knew." After Kakashi gave a nod, they all left Hokage's workspace. As Kakashi concluded the oral report, Team 7A Samus, Haku, and Rina were in front of the Hokage. "I understand. And you succeeded?" Then Kakashi said, "Yes, Hokage. Sama. All right." The Hokage said, "I'll write it up as an A rank," before turning to face Samus. "You say you're Naruto's aunt. I had no idea that his mother had any surviving family members." "His mother wasn't involved. Formally, my name is Samus Etherway, but I go by Samus Aran. After being sent out in a ship, my brother apparently made it to Fire Country and arrived here, where he took on the name Minato Namikaze. I found his ship, and that man was my brother. I am aware of the majority of his life until his wife, Kushina Uzumaki, became 6 months pregnant. Naruto is alone in life since he is not present, indicating that he is dead at the moment. Minato didn't have any known family." Sarutobi responded, "If he had family out there, he would have gone to them. He was an orphan in every sense of the word. He couldn't really. There was no way his ship could return to me. I didn't learn about this place until I was summoned back to one of my previous employers. I had no idea he was still alive. When I last saw him, he was being transported to an unidentified location by ship. It seems that both of us chose unrelated military contingents. After a mission 10 years ago, I retired and turned to bounty hunting. After being called back to look into something, I discovered not only his ship but also the fact that he had a son and the names that might have been of that son." "Here is in Sarutobi. Everything he said so far is accurate," Samus noted. "How thorough was he? Every mission he undertook, every skill he possessed, the cultural and technological differences, and the discoveries he made were all documented in detail. In any case, if anyone else found the message, I would have received it from him. He chose Fuinjutsu in part because of this. The technology we use is sufficiently similar to that of Fuinjutsu." "I understand. And how are you going to demonstrate your relationship?" When Sarutobi asked, Samus simply produced a tiny disc and said, "This is a holographic projector. I'll play back his most recent log. It will explain everything." And it did. A secret that shouldn't have been revealed surfaced after everyone had seen the log. After glancing at the Sandaime, Samus said, "Is that sufficient?" Sarutobi simply nodded. Everything stated is accurate, Samus. It doesn't surprise me that he gave it that much thought. Everything he said came to pass as intended. His inheritance will be necessary. He will need to know, as you and I both know. I was strictly instructed to grant Naruto his inheritance only in one of two circumstances. He turns into a Chunin in the first place. The second is his 18th birthday. Whichever was first. The council will now also need to be aware of his heritage because he has living relatives. They'll be requesting the CRA. May I? Naruto began. Naruto, what is that? Sarutobi inquired, irritated by the information. This bit of knowledge might be useful. According to Article 2 of the CRA, which was established by the Naidame Hokage, the CRA can only be imposed on a civilian with a bloodline and no marriage contracts. One is that I have no known ancestry. I'm a shinobi, too. If I do have a bloodline, they cannot force me to marry more than one woman, and they cannot place me under the CRA until I am Junin. Only when I get to Junin before I turn 16 will it become clear. As long as there are at least 5 females, I can still set the terms. Not taking place. I think you looked at it, and made sure you knew what it entailed, so you can stop yourself from being put on it? Sarutobi asked, turning from Naruto to Sasuke. Really? That's what I did for Sasuke. It turns out that because Haku already has a marriage contract signed by Zabuza Momochi and Kakashi Hitaki, with Rin present as a witness, she can continue to live as a civilian. Don't you just love annoying the council? Sarutobi gave a deadpan. With a slight smile, Naruto answered, you know it, Gigi. It's worth it to see their faces after you hit them, even though you cause them more trouble and they cause me some. But I'm not sure, because they always call for your blood. His blood is requested by that council. Sarutobi nodded sadly. Samus then turned to Kakashi. You're right. If he so desired, he would have every right to destroy this village. He is fortunate to be a Class 6 protector for this village. This village would have already been destroyed if he hadn't been a Class 4.6 protector. What are you discussing? Sarutobi's eyes narrowed. If Naruto so desired, he would have every right to destroy this village. I have a gut feeling that his early years were severely damaged here. Am I correct? With a scowl, Sarutobi said, I did everything I could to give him a normal childhood. Hokage. Sama, I think it's time to say this. Without his father's survival, Naruto would never have experienced a typical childhood. I assumed you would have figured it out by now, so I had held back from saying this all this time. Gigi, it wouldn't have made a difference if my childhood had been thrown away and destroyed. Nothing can be done to change that. People don't know. They are afraid of the unknown. Sasuke surprised everyone by adding, Naruto is not the Kyuubi, no matter what others say, that much holds true, they hate the wrong being. Sakura nodded in agreement. The village would have already been completely destroyed due to everything that happened to Naruto if he were the Kyuubi who almost destroyed it. We're all still here, though. If I'm mistaken, please correct me, but I don't think anyone would have removed a despotic leader, replaced him, and made improvements to the area under his control before awarding the title to the most honorable local. Was that what a demon would have done? Haku asked. I am glad you all see him for him, said Sarutobi with a gentle smile. Why wouldn't we? Sasuke noted, he's got my support, so it just helps that he's on our side. I'll accompany him if he is banished. That means that I come with as well. Haku made the point. Your village would lose out on 2 bloodlines. With a slight smile, Naruto said, thanks guys. If it comes down to it, I'll take him to my home, said Samus. Sakura went on, and I'm come with, anyway. We're a team. It's likely that I would leave too if they did. The Ichiraku family would also arrive. Sarutobi noted, I can say this with certainty. You should also be aware that someone else would want to follow Naruto. After all, she has been doing this for some time. Do you have a stalker? Samus asked. He does, of course. Sakura noted, everyone except him is aware of it. Isn't that Hinata? Naruto inquired. You were aware? Naruto acknowledged, I figured it out during team placements. All right, you'll be off for 2 days, but I'll have to give you another apartment, Naruto. The whole building is all mine. Since no one wanted to live in the same building as me, I obtained the deed to the entire building 3 years ago. I can rent out a room if I just fix it up. You wouldn't believe what I've found. My apartment is connected to most of the 6th floor. I've been making every effort to keep the place in top condition. Although no one shows up for a building check, I have learned a few things from the newcomers. Even though it may appear to be a dump from the outside, I have completely renovated the entire building. I am not certified in anything. Really, the only reason I maintain the exterior appearance is to prevent intruders from destroying the space. I'll check it myself, since the majority of the building contractors are biased against you. As I mentioned, the entire 6th floor is my entire apartment at the moment, Naruto said, nodding. Although the main entrance is marked 666A, all connected doors are marked 666. In a few months, it will be accessible to those taking the Chunin exams. It will be examined in a week. Don't be concerned about anything. Samus nodded and gave Naruto a proud look. Is there a private training ground for you, Naruto? I'll make sure it's safe. In which case, Samus, you'll be staying with Naruto during the duration of your stay. I'm afraid that he doesn't have one at. With pride, Naruto remarked. You bet I do. Built it myself. I'm sorry, but you don't have one at the apartment. So that means it's done its job, Naruto grinned. It is 50 feet underground, and I had a difficult time building the additional 5 feet of concrete without anyone noticing. I store the majority of my belongings inside. I am currently the only person with access to this storage area. It leads to a much bigger room, where I have placed seals to prevent the feeling of any chakra spikes, earthquakes, and the ability for it to continuously mend itself. Isn't Fuinjutsu a wonderful thing? It is inaccessible to those who possess the Byakugan. Until now, they haven't. If they haven't found a way to get there, or let me know. Sarutobi acknowledged. I will have to get Heishi on that. Anyway, Naruto shrugged, I'll go ahead. I need to go over a few things about some of the apartments. Every month, I check and clean every apartment. It's much simpler now that I know the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and I can finish the majority of it in an hour. How are you going to get me there? Samus asked. I'll search for you and put the seal there once I've finished everything else. You can teleport into the village or any of the nearby training grounds as long as you're there. The X is located in the main lobby. I have to work on that next, especially since one of them contains the Imperialist data. What are these X? Wait. Samus waved it away, saying, just some organisms that follow Naruto. It's not like anyone else could find out from them. In any case, only Naruto and I are able to comprehend their language. I will have to see one for myself. Then, without mentioning the suits, he explained what they do for Naruto and Samus. This is an X. A green X emerged from Naruto's bag. The only issue is that anyone else would die if used on them, because their nervous system would attack them, allowing them to multiply faster. They may be beneficial genetic modifiers or lethal parasites. They only pay attention to me and Samus to a certain degree. All I can say is that the report will not include the X, and regardless of the situation, I'm happy you're all safe. You're all fired. Naruto disappeared, and Samus and the others aside from Kakashi left. Kakashi, did you leave anything out of the report? Sarutobi glanced at Kakashi, who was suddenly serious, and said, no, this isn't about the mission. Why didn't you make Jiraiya come back and look after Naruto? Jiraiya would not have discovered information about a group of individuals who would be pursuing Naruto if I had done that. In addition to protecting Naruto from outside threats, Jiraiya is also learning everything he can about Konohagakure's dangers. He is currently attempting to determine the reason, but it is unknown. What are you saying? Sarutobi said, I'll have him explain it when he returns during the break for the Chunin exams. Rin was missing and couldn't come back until you found her and took away the one thing preventing her from doing so. The official story is that. Now, did young Naruto get laid? Only your team and I will know the real story, he said with a twisted smile. With a serious nod, Kakashi said, 5 girls. I swear. Hinata would castrate him if she learned. Kakashi answered, she wouldn't do that if she knew the reason.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.